Chapter 450. I'm fine. Man clenched his fists, but his expression was calm. That's good. Bo Jinxiao said with a smile. Manran, I feel that you've become even prettier after not seeing you for 2 to 3 years. Manran was expressionless and just looked at her quietly. Just as expected. In the next moment, Bo Jinxiao smiled gently and generously. But it's good that you don't hate me. Hate you for what? Manran asked in return, making Bo Jinxiao stunned for a moment before she laughed softly. Manran, you're still as straightforward and cute as before. Bo Jinxiao approached her and said gently, I know. That time I slept. Bo Jinxiao, do you like to discuss people so much? Manran's tone was cold as he interrupted Bo Jinxiao. Do you hate to hear it? Manran, I just want to. Before Bo Jinxiao could finish, a sudden voice interrupted her again. Manran. Hearing the familiar voice, Manran relaxed inexplicably and turned to look at Bei Yunj. Are you here too? Manran's guarded and cold expression completely disappeared. Seeing this, Bo Jinxiao could not help but turn around, wanting to see the person who had spoken. But the moment she looked up, Bo Jinxiao froze. The girl in front of her was very young. She was wearing a simple light blue dress that was embellished with large flowers embroidered with gauze and blue floating gold. Her waist and V-neck were perfect, showing the feelings and charm of a young girl. Her black hair was loose and fell on her shoulders. Her bright and moving face was even more dazzling. In just a moment, a huge sense of danger rose in Bo Jinxiao. Pei Yunj grabbed Manran's hand and walked in, not even looking at Bo Jinxiao from the corner of her eye. Seeing this, Bo Jinxiao heaved a sigh of relief and could not help laughing. It turned out that she was just a little girl with an unstable temperament. For Manran, she left coldly without even looking at her. Did you see me talking to that person? Manran asked nervously. Yes. Then you're leaving just like that? Bei Yunj glanced at her. Don't you hate her? Is it that obvious? When Bei Yunj came in, she saw that Manran's entire face was filled with hostility. He looked like a little girl who had been robbed of her candy, but the other party was smiling calmly. It was obvious that she was very good at dealing with Manran. Look in the mirror, Bei Yunj said calmly. Manran, very good, very straightforward. As expected of Master Pei. She's just a mistress. Why would I bother with her? At this point, Manran suddenly remembered something. He pulled Bei Yunj and said, look after your brother Shidu. When this woman was in high school, she confessed to your boyfriend. Although she was rejected, this woman might not have given up. Isn't she with your ex-boyfriend? Bei Yunj asked. Manran was stunned. How did you know? Didn't you say that woman was a mistress? Bei Yunj said without thinking. Smart people were really annoying sometimes. Yes, but she took a step back. Manran laughed. How can I not know Bo Jinxiao? She thinks that she's the #1 in the world and the center of the universe. If she knew that there was something going on between you and Master Du, she would definitely not sit still. Chapter 451. Although Shidu had been acting a little strange recently. But he was just teasing a child. This man probably never realized that she was a mature woman of the opposite sex. Come on, if it wasn't for that, would Master Du have chased her all the way to the bar? Manran rolled his eyes. Bei Yunj said, have you ever seen someone supervise a girl he likes to do college entrance examination mock questions in his office every day? Manran was speechless. Wasn't Master Du playing too much? Other people played all kinds of passionate games in the domineering CEO's office, but he supervised the little girl to do her homework every day? Manran still wanted to struggle. Perhaps he just feels that dating and studying are not two different things. Bei Yunj sneered. All right. What he lacks is not a girlfriend but an heir. Until today, Bei Yunj still remembered how Shidu had let her go to the whole corporation to manage the company without any psychological burden. It was as if she was already his biological sister. If this man could be moved by the mortal world, the iron tree would bloom. At this moment, Manran could only shut up after hearing this. This kind of thing would only make things worse. It was better for her not to cause trouble for Master Du, on the second floor. Old Qin, you found your biological granddaughter. Her illness is almost healed. How wonderful. The 4 old men were chatting at the mahjong table. Don't talk about this anymore. When old Master Qin mentioned it, he could not help but take a deep breath. Back then, Mr. and Mrs. Qin had pretended to obey him and said that they wanted to tell everyone that girl was their biological daughter. But in the end? It had been 2 years and they had not mentioned Gur at all, causing everyone to mistakenly think that Ger was an illegitimate daughter. If Lu Yan had not come to the hospital to visit him and tell him the truth, he would have been kept in the dark. What's wrong? Old Master Luo said sarcastically. The 3 grandsons in the family are all promising. Aren't you happy? Is your granddaughter too lousy? Your granddaughter is the lousy one. Old Master Qin immediately retorted. Old Master Luo was stunned for a moment, then he sneered. What's wrong? Where's your granddaughter? You won't even let her say it? Old Master Qin rolled his eyes and couldn't be bothered with him. Old Master Luo snorted. My granddaughter just got into Herman University's finance department. In the future he can even enter the company to help out at home. After saying this, everyone present could tell that Old Master Luo was showing off. Old Master Wu laughed and said, Isn't it all because of Old Bo's good fortune? Isn't Jin Xiao a famous talent in our circle? Old Master Luo also started to flatter. Yes, Jin Xiao is really good in every way. Who knew? Old Master Bo did not even raise his head. She's not my biological granddaughter. Bo Jinxiao was a distant relative and did not have much to do with the Bo family. However, because Bo Jinxiao had always been outstanding since she was young, the Bo family valued her very much. However, this Bo family did not include Old Master Bo. Old Master Bo's personality had always been perverse and he did not like delicate little girls. However, when the others heard Old Master Bo's words, they felt a little awkward. Even if she's not your biological granddaughter, she's still a junior. Old Master Qin was the only one among the 3 who dared to say this about Old Master Bo. After all, ever since Old Master Bo was young, the Bo family had been like the sun in the sky. They were the people that others wanted to please. It's my treat today. Old Qin stopped talking, Old Master Bo said unhappily. Old Master Qin was speechless. This damned old man was really demanding. Chapter 452. Alright, let's play another round and go down to see them. Old Master Bo said. Okay. Then let's play another round. In the hall downstairs. Oh my look. Bo Jinxiao is really the center of attention the moment she comes back. The surrounding socialites' gazes drifted over from time to time to Bo Jinxiao, who was chatting with the young masters of the various corporations. In a corner not far away, Bei Yunj was eating snacks and put some on Yu Manren's plate from time to time. Suddenly, Master Pei, you're here too. Bei Yunj turned around and saw Chu Zhixing and Lu Yuanxi. He was wearing a suit and looked handsome and dignified, especially Chu Zhixing. After a month or 2 he had lost a lot of weight. His black eyes were sparkling and his facial features were deep, attracting the attention of many young women. Are you here to steal the cake? Where are you? Lu Yuanxi casually plucked the cherry from Bei Yunj's cake and threw it into his mouth. Bei Yunj stopped and looked at him expressionlessly. Gura, there's more. Yu Manran hurriedly stuffed the cherry on his cake into Bei Yunj's mouth. Bei Yunj glanced at Yu Manran and asked Chu Zhixing lazily, Xiao Chu, why are you here? I came with my brother. With that said, Chu Zhixing could not help but look at Yu Manran. This also made Bei Yunj look at Yu Manran unconsciously. Seeing that Yu Manran was pretending not to know Chu Zhixing, she did not ask further. Master Pei, did you see that? That person in the green dress over there is Brother Chu's sweetheart. Lu Yuanxi, what nonsense are you talking about? Chu Zhixing elbowed Lu Yuanxi heavily. Lu Yuanxi laughed and held his abdomen. You're still denying it? When I bumped into you at the door, I saw you staring at her. By the way, how many years are you younger than her? 4. Chu Zhixing could not help but look at Bo Jinxiao again. 4. Lu Yuanxi raised his eyebrows and happened to glance at Bei Yunj from the corner of his eye. Master Pei, do you think Brother Chu can do it? Bei Yunj glanced at Chu Zhixing and thought for a while. Xiao Chu, I suggest you try someone else. Why change? That big sister looks very gentle and generous. She's completely different from a girl with a bad temper like you. Lu Yuanxi laughed and teased. What are you doing, Master Pei? Are you jealous that she's feminine? Is it sour? Bei Yunj chuckled. What are you laughing at? Lu Yuanxi asked. Little Lu, there are some things that you can't understand. Bei Yunj sighed softly and smirked. She raised an eyebrow and smiled lazily. My face doesn't allow me to stir up trouble. Lu Yuanxi, Chu Zhixing, he had really underestimated the thickness of her skin. However, looking at this face, he really couldn't say anything against his heart. Yu Manran, who was beside him, also suppressed his laughter. He had long known that Ger had a vicious tongue, but he rarely saw her like this. It was inexplicably funny and down to earth. Suddenly, Zhixing? Not far away, Bo Jinxiao looked at Chu Zhixing in surprise. You seem to have lost a lot of weight. Hearing this, Chu Zhixing became nervous and clenched his fists unconsciously. You're getting more and more handsome. Sister Qiao can't recognize you anymore. Bo Jinxiao held Chu Zhixing's arm intimately, making the men around them feel jealous. Chapter 453. You're so rude. You're not even calling me sister. Bo Jinxiao thought for a moment and said with a smile, then let's play a duet. How about that? Okay. Chu Zhixing only pursed his lips on the surface, a faint smile on his lips, but he could not help but feel happy. Not far away. Lu Yuanxi shook his head. You've been making things difficult for us for so long. So you're using it to chase after your goddess. One had to know that he and Bei Yunj had been practicing the piano with Chu Zhixing recently. If you're unhappy, are you going to play a duet with little Chu later? Bei Yunj asked in return. Hearing this, Lu Yuanxi had goosebumps all over his body. He looked at her expressionlessly. Bei Yunj ignored Lu Yuanxi and asked Yu Manran, do you know if there's any place here where we can get some fresh air? Yu Manran was puzzled. You don't know about Platinum Gold Royal Hotel? It's my first time here. No way. This is the Huo Corporation's property and Master Du has never brought you here before. Yu Manran was secretly surprised. Then, she said secretly, there's a pool behind. There's also a theme restaurant and a large garden. Where do you want to go? The garden. Bei Yunj said. Okay, then let's go out secretly later. Yu Manran was already out of breath. Especially when Bo Jinxiao was still around. So, after Chu Zhixing and Bo Jinxiao's duet ended, Bo Jinxiao played the second song by the side, causing countless people to exclaim in admiration. Look, Brother Chu's eyes are glued to Bo Jinxiao. Lu Yuanxi smiled carelessly. But to be honest, Bo Jinxiao's piano skills are not worse than Qin Youjiao's. Qin Youjiao's piano skills were exquisite. However, Bo Jinxiao had an additional charm that made people linger. Master Pei, are you going to learn how to play the piano next time? Lu Yuanxi asked. Hearing this, Yu Manran immediately laughed without thinking. Who would dare to teach you? How about we let Brother Chu beg his goddess to let Bo Jinxiao teach Master Pei? This way we can create an opportunity for Brother Chu. Not interested. Bei Yunj said lazily. With that said, Lu Yuanxi couldn't say anything more. Not long after, the old family heads upstairs came down. When I walked to the corridor, I heard a very good piano sound. I guessed that it was Yu Yin Xiao, Old Master Luo said with a smile. Yeah, other than Qin. Just as Old Master Wu was about to mention someone, he happened to catch a glimpse of Old Master Qin at the side and immediately changed his mind. Other than Qin Xiao, who else can be so powerful? Grandpa Wu, you're teasing me? Bo Jinxiao immediately stood up and poured a cup of tea for Old Master Bo. Grandpa, how have you been recently? Pretty good. Old Master Bo nodded, not giving Bo Jinxiao a way out in public. He praised, you're playing better and better. Bo Jinxiao smiled as well. In school there are many powerful seniors with excellent piano skills. I still have to learn more. It's just that I can't seem to find a partner in the country. Hearing Bo Jinxiao's words, the other socialites fell silent. Who would want to be Bo Jinxiao's partner? Wasn't it obvious that she had to be a supporting character for Bo Jinxiao and accompany her? Hearing this, Old Master Bo was about to speak when he heard Mrs. Li laugh from not far away. I remember that Miss Qin plays the piano very well. With that said, the atmosphere on the field became cold and heavy. Wasn't she talking about Qin Youjiao? But who didn't know that Qin Youjiao was no longer the young lady of the Qin family? Chapter 454. Bo Jinxiao stopped what she was doing and picked up the juice glass as well. She smiled and said, Miss Qin is amazing, but I don't think I'll have the chance to see Miss Qin again. Hearing this, Mrs. Li froze. Then he looked at Bei Yunj, who was beside him. Isn't this Miss Qin standing here perfectly fine? With that said, even Old Master Qin only realized now that the person Mrs. Li was talking about was Bei Yunj. After Lu Yuanxi regained his senses, he looked at Bei Yunj. You know how to play the piano? A little. Why didn't you say so earlier? Lu Yuanxi took a deep breath and smiled. Bei Yunj glanced at him calmly. Did you ask? Lu Yuanxi was speechless. Yes, very Bei Yunj. At this moment, everyone's eyes landed on Bei Yunj. Bo Jinxiao's smile froze. After thinking for a while, she immediately knew Bei Yunj's identity. So it was the new young lady of the Qin family. Miss, are you good at playing the piano? Bo Jinxiao asked. Not bad. After Bei Yunj finished speaking, Lu Yuanxi could not help but look at Bei Yunj. He felt that there was something wrong with this answer. However, the way Yu Manran looked at Bei Yunj was much more realistic. Was this okay? Then tell me who was very good. Hearing this, Bo Jinxiao only smiled. I see. It's normal for girls to retain a sense of novelty and passion for things like the piano. I remember that Manran knows how to play the piano too. Why don't Manran teach Miss Qin more when you're free? Seeing Bo Jinxiao's perfect appearance, Yu Manran found it ridiculous. Yu Manran's tone was cold. Miss Bo, you're so nosy. No, the eldest miss of the Qin family. Mrs. Li had seen Bei Yunj play the piano in the Lu family. Before she could explain, Bei Yunj suddenly spoke. 90 minutes later, Grandpa, I want to go out for a walk. Bei Yunj looked at old Master Qin. She didn't want to stay in there forever. Okay. Gura, go play. I'll get your big brother and the others to look for you later. All right. After Bei Yunj finished speaking, she pulled Yu Manran out of the room. Old Qin, your granddaughter is really beautiful. Old Master Wu couldn't help but praise. Of course. Don't you know whose genes it is? Old Master Qin snorted. Lu Yuanxi, she finally knew why Bei Yunj was so confident. It runs in the family. Suddenly, in the living room, a pleasant piano sound sounded and everyone looked at Bo Jinxiao, who was still playing the piano. Only Chu Zhixing felt that this song seemed a little familiar. He should have heard it somewhere before. Furthermore, it seemed like it was much better than Xiao Qiao's. Until the song ended. Old Master Bo, who did not speak much, suddenly asked, the song you played was Yun Si Fall. Bo Jinxiao said with a smile, I heard that Grandpa likes Huayuan a lot, so I specially went to learn this song. However, I was in a hurry and her song was a little difficult, so I only learned one song. Old Master Bo nodded. Others might not have noticed, but Old Master Bo had noticed that Bo Jinxiao had made a few mistakes. It was not Bo Jinxiao's fault. Si Fall was the most difficult song. I think I heard the eldest miss of the Qin family play this song in the Lu family before. Mrs. Li muttered to herself again. Besides, it was much better than Bo Jinxiao's. Chapter 455. Hearing this, the smile on Bo Jinxiao's face froze. She knows how to play too? Miss Pei plays very well. Mrs. Li clicked her tongue. Why wasn't she her daughter? She was good-looking and good at playing the piano. She was even so humble as to say that she played the piano well. It seems like Miss Pei was being humble just now. Bo Jinxiao's eyes darkened and she turned to smile at Chu Zhixing. Zhixing, your friend is very good. Chu Zhixing nodded. She's the person I admire the most. She knows everything. Lu Yuanxi, who was not far away, was speechless. It was over. Chu Zhixing was really a huge fan of Bei Yunj. Didn't he see that Bo Jinxiao's smile was very forced? At this moment, another girl who studied music said, speaking of which, I wonder how Manran's relationship with Huayuan is. I heard that Huayuan is her personal arranger. Hearing this, Old Master Bo realized that he had forgotten something important. Where's Man? Old Master Bo stood up suddenly. This action made the smile on Bo Jinxiao's face freeze. She had never thought that Yu Manran would one day make Old Master Bo so concerned about Huayuan. In the garden. On the way, Yu Manran poked at her ice cream and ate it, not having the self-awareness of a female celebrity at all. Did you see that old man in a white t-shirt and casual pants just now? He's the old master of the Bo Corporation. Do you remember him? Bei Yunj suddenly remembered. That old man from the International Musicians Association selection? She remembered that in the selection video the old man was wearing a tuxedo and a top hat, his hair combed neatly. He did not look like the casual old master at all. Yes. Bei Yunj raised an eyebrow. You know him? The Bo family and our Yu family are family friends. I have a good relationship with Mrs. Bo. So when they heard that you're my arranger some time ago, they thought of a way to hope that you can give a spot to old Master Bo. After listening to Yu Manran's explanation, Bei Yunj also responded, I see. Do you think old Master Bo can pass? Yu Manran asked carefully. I don't know. These words made Yu Manran sigh uncontrollably. But the next moment he heard Bei Yunj say, but I quite like his music score. Let the Bo family find a professional teacher. That way we will have more confidence in the selection. Why don't you teach me, Gur? Yu Manran probed. As expected. Bei Yunj looked up with a half-smile. Is it fair to the other contestants if I teach him? Hearing this, Yu Manran stopped begging. She could tell that Bei Yunj would not touch a matter of principle. When the banquet was about to end, Yuhan Ran called and asked Yu Man Ran to prepare to go back with him. At this moment, Bei Yunj and Yu Man Ran were also preparing to leave. But they did not expect to bump into Bo Jinxiao. It was as if she was looking for someone on purpose. Miss Pei, are you going back? Bo Jinxiao asked with a smile. Bei Yunja's eyes curved and her red lips curled up lazily. But she still gave off a distant feeling. Then do I have a chance to be friends with Miss Pei? If possible, would Miss Pei be willing to give me your contact number? Before Bo Jinxiao could finish, Bei Yunj interrupted her calmly. Miss Bo, you're too polite. Although she said this, it was obvious that she did not intend to be friends with Bo Jinxiao. Chapter 456. It was obvious that it was Bo Jinxiao's first time being rejected and she felt a little uncomfortable, but she pretended to be generous and glanced at Yu Man Ran beside her. Is it because of Man Ran? Turning around, Bo Jinxiao said to Bei Yunj, but I have a good relationship with Zhixing, I don't lack friends. Bei Yunj smiled. No matter how good she was at tolerating it, Bo Jinxiao's smile disappeared completely in the face of Bei Yunj's attitude. From the corner of her eye, she happened to see the bracelet on Bei Yunj's wrist and a trace of surprise flashed past her eyes. Perhaps because she had been staring for too long, the young lady who came with Bo Jinxiao also noticed that Bei Yunj and Bo Jinxiao were wearing the same bracelet. Why is this bracelet the same as yours, Jinxiao? The young lady said with a smile. It should be a coincidence. The moment Bo Jinxiao finished speaking, the young lady's tone suddenly became sharp and strange. Jinxiao, there are many people in our industry who imitate your outfits. What's so strange about that? It's just that this bracelet is a love gift from young Master Chu and someone actually has the cheek to copy it. Are you done? Miss Bo, did you change your profession and become an artiste? You've been overseas for 2 to 3 years and there are still people imitating your outfits? Yu Man Ran immediately laughed, his tone cold. You? The girl's face turned livid, but she did not dare to say anything overboard in front of Yu Man Ran. After all, now that the Yu family was working with the Hua family, their status in Yunqing was unshakable. Even the Bo family had to give them some face. So, the girl changed the topic and could only vent her anger on Bei Yunj. Miss Pei is really amazing. She hasn't been back to the Qin family for long, right? She can already seduce Miss Yu? It seems like Miss Pei really came prepared. Sai, Qin Youjiao's status is still too low. Why? Do you need to perform something because you're so skilled? Bei Yunj's eyes curved as she looked at her with a smile that did not reach her eyes. Hearing this, the girl trembled with anger. You, let's go, man. Bei Yunj was about to leave when she was stopped by the girl. Stop. You're wearing the same bracelet as her, how can you be so nonchalant? The temperature in Bei Yunj's eyes gradually dropped. However, when she looked up, she saw Qin Luyin standing behind Bo Jinxiao and Bo Jinxiao. Under the thin gold-rimmed glasses, his refined and noble eyes seemed to emit a trace of coldness. His dark eyes were frightening. Go. As soon as he finished speaking, the girl who had been arrogant just a moment ago, instantly felt a chill down her spine. This year, the Qin Corporation had expanded too quickly. People in the industry had no choice but to pay attention to this young and promising President Qin. Bo Jinxiao turned around and saw the refined and handsome man walking toward Bei Yunj. Then, a trace of coldness flashed past his dark eyes hidden under his thin glasses. His long, bony fingers gently circled Bei Yunj's wrist. After undoing the bracelet, he threw it into the trash can. What our Gu-er has can only be unique. With that said, Qin Luyin took off his wristwatch and put it on Bei Yunj's wrist. Hearing this, he scoffed. So the eldest young master of the Chu family is so perfunctory when it comes to love gifts. He's not even willing to find a custom-made one. Instantly, Bo Jinxiao's face paled and she looked at the man with a dangerous aura in front of her instinctively. However, at this moment, Qin Luyin only glanced at Bei Yunj's dress. Then he knelt on one knee and tidied her dress seriously. Chapter 457. It was obvious. Qin Luyin doted on Bei Yunj to the bone. Seeing this, Yu Manran's eyes were filled with envy. Look, this was someone else's brother. What about her brother? Suddenly, Bo Jinxiao chuckled. President Qin must have misunderstood something. Then what does Miss Bo think I misunderstood? Qin Luyin did not look up and there was no emotion in his eyes. However, Bo Jinxiao could not say a word. Do you need someone to remind you how you got together with Chu Ziyuan? Qin Luyin's eyes were refined and arrogant, but there was no gentleness. It was a frightening feeling that made people panic. Instantly, Bo Jinxiao's legs turned weak instinctively and she took a step back. She never thought that Qin Luyan would target her because of such a small matter. My girl doesn't like to follow the rules, but Miss Bo, you have to follow the rules. Qin Luyan's eyes were as dark as ink, filled with a deep and faint light, as if he could see through people's hearts. He smirked slightly. After all, what she has is inherent. But Miss Bo isn't. With that said, Bo Jinxiao's face paled and her pupils constricted. What did Qin Luyan know? At first, she thought that Qin Luyan had probably heard some rumors about her in the industry. But now it seemed like Qin Luyan knew something he shouldn't know. Okay, I'll apologize to Miss Bo first. Excuse me. With that said, Qin Luyan left with Bei Yunj. Yu Manran, who was beside her, was slightly excited. F***ck Yunj, isn't your older brother too handsome? Do you lack a sister-in-law? What do you think of me? Bei Yunj. I don't know. She only knew that in her previous life, there was a woman who loved Qin Luyan but could not get him, so she destroyed the entire Qin family. At this thought, Bei Yunj glanced at her. Don't do anything rash. Tisk, I couldn't tell that our girl is a brother complex. After Yu Manran was rejected, he was not sad at all and was still laughing foolishly. Bei Yunj was speechless. At this moment, Bo Jinxiao was still standing on the spot. The girl next to her hurriedly comforted her. Jinxiao, President Qin dotes on his new sister very much, so I don't think he is targeting you on purpose. Who knew? Bo Jinxiao looked at Bei Yunj's departing figure and only smiled. Bei Yunj, what an interesting little girl. Yu Manran was about to go home, but he was brought back to the living room by the Bo family's butler. She realized that all 4 members of the Bo family were there. Auntie Bo, you are. Yu Manran felt an inexplicable sense of fear. Man, have you seen Wyan? Old Master Bo could not hold it in any longer. He stood up and held Yu Manran's hand as he asked. Yes. She was not the only one who had seen it. Everyone present had seen it. When Old Master Bo heard this, his heart ached. That's great. He actually managed to see Yun in person. But on the surface, Old Master Bo still patted Yu Manran's hand reservedly. Not bad, good boy. Yu Manran was speechless. What's with this high praise? Yu Manran suddenly felt flattered. One had to know that Old Master Bo rarely praised anyone. I wonder if I'll have the chance to see Wyan, Old Master Bo muttered to himself. Actually, I think the Bo family and the Hua family have a good relationship. Yu Manran hinted crazily without batting an eyelid. If you're free, why don't you go and see Master Du? No, that fellow is not easy to get along with. I don't like him. Hearing this, Old Master Bo looked unhappy and let go of his hand instinctively, wanting to sit back on the sofa. However, Yu Manran suddenly grabbed him and insisted, No, you like him. Chapter 458. Old Master Bo was stunned when he heard this. He did not know what this little girl meant. However, a dark look flashed past Bo Xiuqin's eyes and he said, If there's a chance, I'll bring grandfather to visit. No, why are we visiting the Hua family? Old Master Bo was very resistant. Ever since he met that junior from the Hua family more than 10 years ago, he never wanted to have anything to do with him again. Grandfather Shidu was still young back then. Didn't he just say a few words of truth? Why hold a grudge? Bo Xiuqin said leisurely. Old Master Bo was speechless. Did he just say a few words of truth? Initially, he had helped Old Hua teach the child his homework out of goodwill. In the end, this child was so young. Were the questions humans could do? As a student of the mathematics department at Neely University and the oldest generation of intellectuals who had returned from overseas, he was discriminated against by a child. This was simply unbearable to look back on. After Yu Manran left, Bo Xiuqin still insisted on bringing Old Master Bo to visit the Hua family. Later on, the old master was so angry that he hugged his fishing rod and bucket for a few days and refused to go downstairs. The next day, the moment Bei Yunj returned home, she saw Huashidu walking back with Old Master Qin. It seemed that Huashidu's relationship with Old Master Qin had improved after staying in the Qin family's old residence for the past 2 days. However, Bei Yunj greeted him and still went upstairs first. What has Guru been busy with recently? Old Master Qin found it strange and turned to look at Huashidu. Shidu, could it be that some brat has eaten a bear's heart and leopard's guts and has designs on my precious Gur? Huashidu glanced at Bei Yunj's back view and laughed again. No, Shidu, you don't know how bad the kids are nowadays. Old Master Qin thought of the negative news about high school students falling in love and was extremely nervous. He grabbed Huashidu's hand again. Shidu, after grandfather's birthday banquet ends in a few days, Gur will return to your place. You have to pay more attention to Gur. Don't let Gur be abducted by bad boys. The man licked his itchy teeth casually and chuckled in a low voice. His posture was lazy and casual. Grandpa, don't worry. With me around, this won't happen. Upstairs. As soon as Bei Yunj returned to her bedroom, she found that the strong pink color had disappeared and was replaced by a simple wooden design. It also made Bei Yunj feel inexplicably relieved. Very soon, Bei Yunj answered Du Zhao's call. Gur, I found it. Your score was used by a rather young girl in this selection competition. Her name is Qin Yojiao. Bei Yunj had just sat down to turn on the computer when she heard Old Master Qin's words. Her hand that was holding the mouse also paused. She said lazily, "It's her." Du Xiao did not expect that the person who stole Bei Yunj's score would be that talented girl. She wants to compete with my score? Bei Yunj chuckled as her eyes fell on the computer screen. Du Xiao said, I'm not sure yet, but she's quite special. She knew that the person in charge this time was Wei Yuan and still dared to steal Yin's score. Wasn't he a little too bold? Elder Du, check again and see who else is involved in this matter. Bei Yunj said slowly. You mean, someone is helping her? Du Xiao froze. If I'm not wrong, it should be someone from our nation. Chapter 459. From the invitation to Neely's 18th birthday ball, she knew that this matter had become interesting. That person must have appeared. If that's the case, then it's difficult. The forces in our nation are much more complicated. Du Xiao furrowed his eyebrows unconsciously. How did Qin Yojiao know someone from our nation? It doesn't matter if we can find out or not. Okay. Du Xiao replied, there's one more thing. What? You should at least go and take a look at the last round of the International Musicians Association selection. Du Xiao sighed and said faintly. Aren't we going to watch the video? Du Xiao's eyelid twitched. In the last round, the other two people in charge of assisting you will also go to Yunqing. When the time comes, if you don't want to see anyone, you can speak behind the scenes, okay? Bei Yunj said. Okay. Since he had already said so much, Lin Mingya had no choice but to accept. Time passed. In the piano room, Qing Zihuai turned around in surprise. Jiao Jiao, is this your new song? For the past 2 days, Qin Yojiao had been practicing this score almost all the time except for class. Qin Yojiao looked down and could not see her gaze clearly. She only heard her laugh. I asked the teacher to help me change it. Is the song all right? This song is very nice. Qing Zihuai was not flattering her. Even though he was a layman, he could feel that Qin Yojiao's song was a qualitative leap compared to before. Teacher changed it well. Qin Yojiao said deliberately, What's wrong? Did I not play well in the past? It's good. It's just that this song is too good. Ran Wen Qing Zihuai came over and caressed Qin Yojiao's head, saying with a smile, Aren't you happy that I praise your improvement? Qin Yojiao said nothing. However, Qing Zihuai did not notice anything else and only said, Oh right, Jiao Jiao, I've learned a lot from Professor Hong recently. Thank you so much. If it wasn't for you, why would Professor Hong take me in as a student? Zihuai, you don't have to thank me. Many people have abandoned me during this period of time. Only you and my mother are on my side without hesitation. I should be the one thanking you. Hearing this, a trace of heartache flashed past Qing Zihuai's eyes. He felt that Qin Yojiao had changed a lot. In the past, Jiao Jiao could occasionally be spoiled and willful. She would even argue with him, and he would often be so angry that he would have a cold war with her. But now Jiao Jiao had matured a lot. Jiao Jiao, don't worry. Even without the Qin family, you are the only person I have set my mind on. A dark look flashed across Qing Zihuai's eyes as he comforted her. Besides, how long can the Qin family protect Bei Yunj? Many people in the circle knew that the Xiao family and the Qin family were not on good terms. And now, as the Xiao family grew stronger, the Qin family's situation became worse and worse. After regaining his senses, Qing Zihuai asked curiously, By the way, Jiao Jiao, how do you know Professor Hong? The light in Qin Yojiao's eyes flickered. I don't know him, but my friend does. Last year, didn't I take a break from school and go to Country R? It's a friend I met during that time. I see. Qing Zihuai was surprised. Until school was over. Bei Yunj saw Ji Yiqing's message and did not go home. Instead, she asked the chauffeur to leave first and went to the cafe alone. However, on the way she saw an old man in tattered clothes sitting by the roadside, fiddling with a laptop in his hand. Bei Yunj only glanced at him and saw the old man's slightly cloudy eyes staring fixedly at her. Chapter 460. Wait a minute. Bei Yunj glanced at him and found that his clothes were ragged, but his computer was well protected. The screen was cleaner than hers. She thought about it. Bei Yunj walked up to him and placed the remaining 700 yuan in front of him. That's all I have. I have something to do, so I'll leave first. The old man was speechless. Did she think he was a scammer? Seeing that Bei Yunj was about to leave, the old man suddenly said, "Are you leaving just like that?" However, when Bei Yunj heard this, she felt that the old man was determined to blackmail her. She laughed and lazily rested her chin on her hand. She squatted in front of him patiently. "Sir, I'm just a student. Can we understand each other?" The old man was speechless. This little girl was so pretty. Why did she speak so infuriatingly? "Are you giving me this money?" The old man took the money and looked at her strangely. "Yes." Hearing this after a long while, the old man came to a conclusion. This girl's words were infuriating, but she was a good person. "Then I can't take it for free. Why don't I teach you how to use the computer?" The old man thought for a while and looked at her with disdain, as if he was being merciful. "Thank you. I'm in a hurry to go home and do my homework." With that, Bei Yunj stood up and patted the creases on her school skirt with a chuckle. Very soon, under the old man's gaze, she walked into a cafe. The old man was speechless. Weren't children nowadays too good at brushing people off too? "You're so young but you're so blind. Do you know what it means to have a pie fall from the sky?" The old man was so angry that he wanted to smash the computer. He cursed for a long time. Suddenly, a pair of clean white shoes appeared in front of him. A fat cat. "Do you want cake?" The old man looked up and saw Bei Yunj handing him a packed cake and coffee. After a long while, he took the cake and coffee and muttered, "You're not bad, kid." Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows. "Not really. I just find you interesting." Usually when she saw older wanderers, she would at most give them some money. The old man stopped unwrapping the box and asked nervously, "What do you mean?" "Your laptop is not cheap." Bei Yunj glanced at his laptop leisurely. "And you're not from country A, are you?" These words caused the old man's mind to become chaotic. This was the first time someone had asked him this question. "I'm from country R. How did you find out?" the old man asked. After all, he actually looked like someone from country A. "Your accent sounds strange." After Bei Yunj finished speaking, she was about to stand up and leave when she heard the old man's insistence. "You really don't want to learn computer science from me? I'm very powerful and I—" "Sir, I'm quite busy." Bei Yunj smiled. The old man was speechless. Was he being looked down upon by someone? Back then, so many people in country R wanted to be his student. Now, even a high school student looked down on him? Thinking of this, the old man was angry and annoyed. He put the cake box aside and closed his eyes angrily. "You'll regret it." Unexpectedly, the beautiful girl in front of him said goodbye and really did not say anything. When he looked up, she was gone. At this moment, the old man almost wanted to curse. In the coffee shop. "I'm so sorry for being late." Ji Yiqing walked over quickly and said, "Thank you for helping me contact you last time." Bei Yunj paused. "You're welcome." Chapter 461. Ji Yiqing pinched the space between his eyebrows. His handsome face looked a little tired. It was obvious that he had put in a lot of effort into this case. "It's good that you found them. It'll be easy for them to return to the headquarters." Bei Yunj scooped a spoonful of cake and put it into her mouth. Ji Yiqing was speechless. What did she mean by it would be easy for them to return to the headquarters? Get someone to contact the Institute of Computational Technology in our nation. They have negotiated with our nation and will help to solve the problem of locating the gang's headquarters. After all, the Institute of Computational Technology was our nation's national institution. Compared to other people, our nation naturally trusted the researchers in their country. However, it was also a little difficult for them to understand why this group of immortals would suddenly come down to the mortal world to care about the country's affairs. Really? Ji Yiqing almost thought that he was hallucinating. Bei Yunj glanced at him and did not say a word. After a long while. However, Ji Yiqing's gaze on Bei Yunj gradually turned meaningful. "Miss Bei." Bei Yunj looked up and saw Ji Yiqing's gaze. It was as if he had seen through everything. Hence, even the spoon that was digging into the cake stopped. "Don't tell me you're—" Ji Yiqing narrowed his eyes. "Are you a good friend of mine?" Bei Yunj put the cash under the teacup and stood up again. "You can handle the aftermath of this matter properly. I'll take my leave first." With that, Bei Yunj left without looking back. Looking at Bei Yunj's back view, Ji Yiqing was also a little dazed. He did not expect this matter to be settled so quickly. Yuncheng's First People's Hospital. Why are you here again? The man on the hospital bed had a low and magnetic voice. Even the smell of disinfectant in the air was mixed with an inexplicable sweet smell. The old man fanned his nose and said in disdain, "Are the nurses and female doctors too diligent?" There was a strong smell of perfume. "It's a routine check." The man was good-looking and had deep eyebrows. However, his gaze was as calm as the Dead Sea and his thin lips were gently pursed. If one took a closer look, they would realize that the man was wearing a hospital gown. His left trouser leg was sunken and there was nothing on it. This man was handicapped. Come on, if it weren't for your face, how could the nurses be so diligent? The old man's clothes were ragged, but he was carrying an exquisite fruit basket and a bunch of roses wrapped in black paper. This also attracted the man's attention. Where did you get the money to buy a present? He chuckled. Don't talk about it. A very beautiful little girl thought I was a scammer. She gave me 700 yuan and left. Hearing this, the man also seemed to find it novel, and a low chuckle sounded softly. The old man looked at him for a while. I haven't heard you laugh like that in a long time, Shang Yan. The smile on Shang Yan's lips disappeared. Are you really not returning to country R? Those people in your family are not easy to deal with. They are probably trying to divide up your family property. The old man was silent for a moment and suddenly smiled. I suddenly don't want to give it to them anymore. Before this, he had indeed planned to let whoever wanted to take the family property. What do you mean? Shang Yan looked at him in surprise. Isn't it good to find a suitable successor? At this point, the old man thought of the little girl who didn't seem to be easy to deal with. You're really generous. Shang Yan couldn't help but smile. So, you're preparing to go back? I want to look for a successor here. At the same time, I'll get old Zhong to pull some strings. Hearing this, Shang Yan glanced at the old man. If the outside world knew that the Higgins family was looking for a successor, the situation would change. Chapter 462. You really do come up with something as you please. Shang Yan smiled silently. It's been too long since I've met someone interesting. The old man looked out of the window and smiled. At this moment, there was also a commotion at the Computing Institute. Zhong Xinglin called Marcus. Do you know that Nance came to Yunqing? Marcus did not seem to have expected Zhong Xinglin to mention this person. He was silent for a long time. He left a long time ago. The Higgins family has been in a mess for a long time. It's about the heir and the division of the family assets. Zhong Xinglin was silent for a while. Then do you know that he's preparing to choose an heir here? Is this old guy crazy? Marcus' body stiffened. Soon after, he was so shocked that he cursed. This Nance had traveled thousands of miles just to find a successor in Yunqing? Was it because the flowers in our nation weren't bright enough that he started to be infatuated with the flowers and plants overseas? I don't know what's wrong with him either. He's already asked me to help investigate the elites in the computing field below the age of 35. Zhong Xinglin couldn't help but hit the back of his head. He didn't even like Si Qingyan just now. Who else does he want? He thought that this guy wanted to go to heaven. What heir? If he chose this condition, he wouldn't be able to find a successor even if half of his body was buried in the ground. Did Nance suffer some agitation at your place? I don't know about that. Zhong Xinglin's lips twitched. Anyway, don't spread this matter. Otherwise, who knows how much trouble it will cause. If we don't spread it, we won't be able to hide it for long. Many people know that Nance went to Yunqing this time. You're looking for the heir of the Higgins family with great fanfare. How can you not be targeted? Marcus chuckled. This was one of the 4 major families in our nation. 020 Even the veteran members of our nation's Institute of Computational Technology were members of the research department that Higgins Corporation had split. Few people knew that Marcus was actually a researcher that Nance had brought along when he was young. This time, we're recruiting elites in the computing field in the name of a competition. Of course, we won't use Higgins' name. Zhong Xinglin continued, as for some outstanding juniors in the computing industry, I'll get Si Qingyan to invite them one by one. This was also to satisfy Nancy. Si Qingyan didn't even take a liking to her. This guy has high standards. I advise you not to waste your efforts. Marcus and Zhong Xinglin chatted for a while and both of them forgot about a person in the office. Evening. Bei Yunj had just returned to the old residence when she realized that the house was very quiet. She looked around and saw only Huashidu, who was sitting on the sofa and working. Upon seeing this scene, Bei Yunj suddenly remembered that she often saw this scene when she returned home from the Hua family. Brother. Bei Yunj greeted her and was about to go upstairs. Yunyan, are you still angry with me? Bei Yunj was stunned for a moment before she turned to look at Huashidu. No. Bei Yunj rarely lost her temper. Even if she did, it would come and go quickly. This was a typical case of being too lazy to fuss over things. By the way, where are Grandpa and the rest? Bei Yunj asked. Grandpa went to visit a friend. As for the others, they should be busy. Hearing this, Bei Yunj glanced at Huashidu. She felt that Huashidu's way of calling him Grandpa was more natural than hers. Then I'll go upstairs first. Bei Yunj had just finished speaking when Huashidu put down his laptop before she could go up. Chapter 463. The moment he finished speaking. Before Bei Yunj could turn around and say anything, she suddenly heard a voice at the door. Yunj. Bei Yunj looked up and saw Ji Yiqing walking in from the door. She did not notice Huashidu's expression either. Why are you here? Bei Yunj was a little surprised. You forgot to take your things. Ji Yiqing handed her the book he had brought over. Listening to their conversation, those who did not know would think that the two of them had a good relationship in private. Bei Yunj could even forget to leave the book with Ji Yiqing. But at this moment, Bei Yunj only noticed the thick computer book in Ji Yiqing's hand and caught it instinctively. She said, "Thank you." Ji Yiqing chuckled. The cover of this book seems to be in a foreign language. There's no translation. After all, it was Bei Yunj's book, so Ji Yiqing did not flip through it carelessly. However, he sized up the cover of the book. It was filled with obscure professional terms. I like to flip through it when I can't sleep. Bei Yunj nodded. The two of them seemed to be chatting happily. However, the man who was left out next to her had clear and handsome eyes. His expression was indifferent, but there was a hint of imperceptible coldness in them. His posture was lazy and cold, and he unconsciously licked the tip of his teeth as he looked at Ji Yiqing with a faint smile. Even Ji Yiqing felt uneasy and turned to look at Huashidu instinctively. So Master Du is here too. In the beginning, when he was chatting with Bei Yunj and found out that Bei Yunj had returned to the Qin family's old mansion, he was still wondering if Master Du was really planning to become a vegetarian. However, he did not expect that in the blink of an eye, even Master Du would come to someone else's house in order to woo the little girl. He was not afraid that the young masters of the Qin family would hold a grudge against him. He was extraordinarily bold. It seems like young Master Ji wishes that I wasn't here. The man's tone was light and his pale-colored eyes were abstinent, but the corners of his upturned eyes were charming. However, Ji Yiqing only felt some kind of danger lurking in this gaze. Master Du must be joking. How could I? Ji Yiqing laughed dryly and suddenly thought of an idea to adjust the atmosphere. Isn't it time to eat? The man said calmly, Young Master Ji, if you want to eat, you can go back early. Ji Yiqing, sure, it was a very straightforward order for him to leave. At this moment, how could Ji Yiqing not tell that Huashidu found him an eyesore? Hence, Ji Yiqing looked at Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj, who hadn't noticed anything, glanced at the two of them. It's still early for dinner. Ji Yiqing put on a fake smile. Then you guys, Huashidu did not look at Ji Yiqing. Instead, he reached out naturally and tidied Bei Yunj's messy hair. As if there was no one else around, he asked, Do you want to train with me? Huashidu thought that this child was only in her second year of high school, but he had never seen her train. If she reached the third year of high school, it would be easy for her body to deteriorate. Therefore, after Bei Yunj changed her clothes, she led her men to the garden behind the villa. However, to Huashidu's surprise, Ji Yiqing was so thick-skinned that he actually pestered him and followed him. Master Du, we haven't seen each other in a long time. Why are you so unwilling to see me? Ji Yiqing asked with a smile. Huashidu glanced at the little girl running on the other side of the lake and turned around. He said carelessly, When did you become so familiar with my child? Chapter 464. Hearing this, Ji Yiqing raised an eyebrow. He did not expect Huashidu to ask him so straightforwardly. Of course it's a private matter. Didn't you ask Yunj? Ji Yiqing smiled unconsciously. These words were inexplicably ambiguous. Gradually, Huashidu stopped in his tracks. When he looked up, his pale-colored eyes were filled with danger. Ji Yiqing. However, in the next second, before Huashidu could continue speaking, he suddenly heard a voice not far away. Brother. Huashidu glanced sideways and saw a bright and overly beautiful girl standing on the bridge. She leaned her hands lazily against the stone railing and rested her cheek on one hand as she looked at him with curved eyes. I'm thirsty. To Ji Yiqing's surprise, after Bei Yunj said this, Huashidu really went back to get water for Bei Yunj. It's my first time seeing Master Du dote on someone so much. Seeing Bei Yunj come down from the bridge, Ji Yiqing chuckled. Bei Yunj only used the towel around her neck to wipe her sweat. Her tone was casual and casual. Ji Yiqing, don't make my brother angry. Ji Yiqing raised an eyebrow before his eyes met Bei Yunj's beautiful and clear eyes. You know that Shidu is unhappy even though you're so far away? Ji Yiqing was interested. He originally thought that Master Du's love was one-sided, but now it seemed like that was not the case. Isn't it obvious? Bei Yunj did not pay much attention to the meaning in Ji Yiqing's words. He only saw Huashidu return not far away and immediately walked over. After the break, Ji Yiqing watched as Bei Yunj left and walked to Huashidu's side. He could not help sighing. 361 reading, Master Du, isn't your little girl too considerate? A girl who looked like she was quite troublesome was quite enviable when she was protective. Huashidu's eyes darkened. He roughly knew what his little girl had done after he went to get water. He smirked. Really? Ji Yiqing glanced at Huashidu's expression and was a little interested. You don't seem very curious why I said that. If you know something, you won't be curious. Huashidu's tone was light as he looked up at him. Shouldn't you be leaving? Ji Yiqing. So she didn't think that he had the ability to steal her, she just didn't like him being an eyesore. Alright, I won't be an eyesore anymore. Ji Yiqing threw the bottle of mineral water into the trash can and looked at him again. He smiled and said, but as a friend, I still have to remind you that you have to keep a close eye on this person. This was especially true for young girls. Their fondness for him was passionate and undisguised. But it comes and goes quickly. Young Master Ji has fallen in love once. You have quite a deep understanding. Huashidu laughed slowly. Ji Yiqing, was this the same as stabbing wherever it hurt? Bei Yunj didn't run for long before she sat down on the grass and scanned through the documents. I don't want to. The next moment, a figure stood in front of her, blocking the dim yellow light of the street lamp. Bei Yunj looked up. The man in front of her curled his lips imperceptibly. Then he squatted down lightly and pinched her bright and fair face as a punishment. His low voice was filled with a magnetic smile and teasing, as if it could easily stir people's hearts. No wonder brother couldn't find you. So you were slacking off here. Bei Yunj, on the asphalt road. Chapter 465. This man's stamina was quite good. After running for so long he didn't even catch his breath. 10 minutes later. Bei Yunj no longer had the patience to continue running. Then she tugged at the man's clothes in front of her. Brother, it's time to eat. Bei Yunj had been sitting in the research lab or sleeping in the classroom for too long. Indeed, she couldn't keep up. Yun, your physical fitness isn't good. I'll give you some time to catch your breath. Why don't you run later? Huashidu looked at the little girl in front of him. Her eyes were black and bright. She clearly didn't look tired. Her cheeks were still pink, but she was already shouting for him to stop. What a delicate child. Who would think? When Bei Yunj heard this, she looked at him faintly. You're the one who's panting. The man was slightly taken aback for no reason. Then, his light and unhurried eyebrows curved, revealing a hint of a smile and laziness. His sexy Adam's apple bobbed and he couldn't help but laugh softly. It was a little hoarse. After adjusting his emotions, Huashidu leaned closer to her. His magnetic voice was light and flirtatious, as if it was teasing the wind beside her ear. It was extremely ambiguous. Okay then Yun, come closer. Let me breathe for you? Even Bei Yunj couldn't help but stiffen. Her ears felt as if they had been scalded. Was this man the reincarnation of a vixen? You. Bei Yunj's bright and lazy eyes were filled with an indescribable look. For the first time in her life, Bei Yunj was speechless. Looking at Bei Yunj's expression, the man's lazy voice dragged out, as if he was blatantly seducing her. His deep voice was filled with a bewitching magnetism. Yun, you really don't want to hear it? Bei Yunj's thoughts were in a mess, and she didn't notice a strange emotion in her heart. She was almost seduced into nodding in agreement. I'm going to eat. Bei Yunj walked around the man and walked forward without looking back. Not long after. When she returned to the living room, Bei Yunj subconsciously took a deep breath, but her racing heart still could not calm down for a long time. To hell with it. Bei Yunj couldn't help muttering to herself. Why was she bewitched every time she met Huashidu? Hongda. Year 2 Class 7. Bei Yunj was holding a glass of milk in one hand, a plastic bag in the other, and a croissant in her other hand. She looked particularly elegant as she ate. Lu Yuanxi could not help asking, "Yunch, you've been eating croissants for almost a week, right?" And the most ridiculous thing was that every time Bei Yunch came in, there was no student on duty to deduct her points. Wasn't his luck too good? 4 days. Bei Yunch put the milk on the table and said slowly. Lu Yuanxi couldn't be bothered to say anything. He turned around and started crazily doing his homework. After a while. "Master Pei, can I borrow your math homework? I didn't write anything." Lu Yuanxi's hand paused. He couldn't help but look at her and ask, "What are you doing now? Was the math teacher not cruel enough?" "I like to eat hot food." Bei Yunch slowly finished the last small piece of croissant in her hand. Then she took out a croissant from the plastic bag. For some reason Lu Yuanxi blurted out, "Is it really that delicious?" Bei Yunch generously gave Lu Yuanxi one. Lu Yuanxi glanced at Bei Yunch with some distrust before he picked it up and took a bite. So, in the first period of math class, Bei Yunch and Lu Yuanxi stood neatly at the door as punishment. Lu Yuanxi. The two of you who share the same table are really good buddies. You don't do your homework, but you still remember to eat breakfast? Chapter 466. Don't come back if you can't solve this question. The math teacher angrily threw out a sentence and returned to the classroom. At this moment, Bei Yunch and Lu Yuanxi were leaning against the railing, doing their homework in unison. "Master Pei," Lu Yuanxi suddenly shouted. Bei Yunch did not even look up. "What's the matter?" Lu Yuanxi leaned over and asked softly. "Where did you buy the croissant? Didn't he dislike it at first?" "It's next to the supermarket on Nanhua Road. It's owned by an auntie." After Bei Yunch finished speaking calmly, she added, "She's a pretty auntie." Lu Yuanxi. Actually, Lu Yuanxi could already guess which shop it was after hearing Bei Yunch's words. After all, the boys had been spreading the rumor for a long time that there was a shop on Nanhua Road and that the auntie was very pretty. But he did not expect Bei Yunch to be someone who valued beauty. Just as Lu Yuanxi was deep in thought, Bei Yunch suddenly put down her pen and said, "I'm done." Lu Yuanxi could not help but look up at her. "These questions haven't been published yet, right?" "Really? I don't know." With that said, Bei Yunch wanted to leave, but was stopped by Lu Yuanxi. Master Pei, can you do me a favor?" Bei Yunch raised her eyebrows. "The questions are different. I can't help." The mathematics teacher had specially given them 2 different sets of questions to prevent them from borrowing from each other. "I'll buy you croissants for a month." Bei Yunch did not say anything when she heard this. Lu Yuanxi took a deep breath and said, 2 months. "Keep a lookout." Bei Yunch took over Lu Yuanxi's practice questions. 139 Reading Network. Lu Yuanxi. Nanhua Road was under repair, so they had to take a detour to get there. They had to walk for at least 10 minutes. Just as Lu Yuanxi was wondering if he had made a loss, Bei Yunch threw the practice questions into his arms in less than 10 minutes. He walked into the classroom again. Lu Yuanxi was stunned for a moment. Then he lowered his head to take a look and realized that the handwriting was similar to his. Was Bei Yunch even human? She wrote for him for 7 to 8 minutes in exchange for him running errands for 2 months? So fast? The math teacher was a little suspicious, but after flipping through Bei Yunch's questions, he couldn't find any mistakes. Suddenly, the mathematics teacher thought of Yunqing University. He heard that the mathematics professor of Yunqing University seemed to like Bei Yunch. He had originally thought that it was just a rumor, but now it seemed to be quite credible. "I've never taught you the content of these questions," the math teacher said. "My brother taught me," Bei Yunch said calmly. Immediately, the 3 young masters of the Qin family appeared in everyone's minds. Wasn't Bei Yunch's life too good? Her Prince Charming was personally tutoring her. How bad could it be? The math teacher nodded. Not bad. Do well in this monthly exam and try to get into the top 50. Hearing this, Bei Yunch paused for a moment and glanced at the math teacher. Okay. But when the audience heard this, they couldn't help but laugh. Ling Jiwei said sarcastically, "Top 50? Teacher, isn't it a pipe dream to get into the top 50 from the bottom 20 in our school?" "But, didn't Bei Yunch come in first in the physics competition?" Someone couldn't help whispering. Ling Jiwei hid the gloom in her eyes and said sarcastically, "Yes, she came in first in the competition." Chapter 467. Everyone in the class heard Ling Jiwei's words clearly. "I've asked my uncle. There are only 2 people who can get full marks in the competition for decades. One is Professor Si Qingyan, who is now working at Yinqing University, and the other is you. A dark glint flashed across Bei Yunji's eyes. No one could tell what she was thinking. Is that so? Professor Si Qingyan was the top scorer in the National College Entrance Examination back then and got first place with 739 points. The second place was less than Professor Si Qingyan by more than 10 points. Ling Jiwei's tone was arrogant, as if the person she was talking about was herself. Of course, when you hear this, you will think that this score is nothing. But you have to know that the average score of Professor Si Qingyan's National College Entrance Examination was a failure. When everyone heard this, a thought appeared in their minds. It was the college entrance examination in 2007. Everyone still remembered the college entrance examination in 2007. This was not because of anything else, but because the questions of the college entrance examination that year had been leaked, so they had officially started to use backup scripts. However, who would have thought that the backup scripts would be like purgatory? Almost all the university's cutoff scores had dropped by dozens of points. When they came back to their senses, everyone was also shocked. They were even afraid that they would encounter such a terrible thing. However, gradually, everyone looked at Bei Yunji with more probing and suspicion because of Ling Jiwei's words. Si Qingyan was only in his 20s, yet he could become a professor at Yin University. Everyone had heard of his heaven-defying results along the way. But what about Bei Yunji? Other than this physics competition, were there any other results that could be taken out? Student Ling seems to have always been very concerned about me. Bei Yunji's lips curled up. There was no guilt or fear in her eyes. I also don't want Hengde to have a morally corrupt student. Ling Jiwei sneered. The math teacher frowned. Ling Jiwei. Bei Yunji, if you can get into the top 50, whatever happens to you has nothing to do with me. Bei Yunji interrupted her slowly, her tone still lazy. After all, I still remember what happened to student Ling on the field last time. Bei Yunji, you. Ling Jiwei was furious. She did not expect that Bei Yunji would dare to bring up this matter. Student Ling, it's good for everyone if you don't do things that lower your intelligence. Bei Yunji said slowly and then looked at the math teacher. Teacher, can I go back to my seat now? Go. The math teacher nodded and gave Ling Jiwei a warning look. Ling Jiwei gritted her teeth and glanced at Bei Yunji viciously. Her hand that was holding the pen clenched into a fist. Didn't Bei Yunji take advantage of the fact that her homeroom teacher doted on her and Lu Yuanxi and Chu Zhixing treated her well? She wanted to see how many people would pay attention to this woman once they saw her true colors. After class, Bei Yunji was called to the office. At first, Bei Yunji thought it was about math class, but she didn't expect Mr. Wen to look for her just to talk about the Hengde exchange competition. Teacher, I'm not free. Bei Yunji rejected him decisively without any hesitation. You don't have to attend every class. Just come once for math or physics. How about we make up the numbers? Mr. Wen was indeed in a hurry. Otherwise he wouldn't have looked for Bei Yunji. Mr. Wen, I don't like to participate in this kind of competition. Bei Yunji's tone was casual, but her attitude was firm. Forget it. He didn't have much hope for her anyway. Mr. Wen sighed. Okay, then call Chu Zhixing over. Okay. Bei Yunji's lips curved. Chapter 468. At the same time. At the Computing Institute. Why are you in such a hurry to organize a competition? Si Qingyan asked in confusion. He had been counting the number of participants since yesterday. What else can I do? If it weren't for the fact that you weren't fancied, would I have gone through so much trouble? Zhong Xinglin chuckled. When Si Qingyan heard this, he immediately reacted. Is it because Nance wants to organize a competition? What else? Zhong Xinglin glanced at him and said faintly. That's true. How can we get so much money as a bonus? Si Qingyan nodded. Zhong Xinglin was speechless. Was this brat looking for a scolding again? Then, before Zhong Xinglin could find fault with him, Si Qingyan paused. After seeing the name of the applicant, he couldn't help but sneer. This Hong Chongzhen is really shameless. Hong Chongzhen actually let Cheng Zihuai participate in our Computing Institute's competition. Cheng Zihuai is that in turn? Zhong Xinglin had some impression of him. That's right. This is too strange. Does Hong Chongzhen lack this bit of money? Why did he let Cheng Zihuai participate in our competition? Si Qingyan raised his eyebrows. You have to know that Cheng Zihuai is his personal student now. What other reason could there be? He must have received the news. Zhong Xinglin was calm and not anxious at all. Hearing this, Si Qingyan froze. He received the news? Isn't he aiming for the position of the successor? 27 kk, so what if he's here? I didn't say that he could be the heir for the first place reward. Zhong Xinglin chuckled. Hung Chongjin, this old thing, had scolded Ger in public and still wanted his student to compete for the position of heir? Dream on. Nance doesn't even like you. Are you afraid that he will like Qing Zihuai? Zhong Xinglin glanced at him. Si Qingyan was speechless. There was no need to mention him. Does an heir have to focus on computing skills? Si Qingyan was curious. Of course not for the other heirs, but Higgins Group is special. This is a group that started with scientific research. Zhong Xinglin clicked his tongue. The ability of the future heir will directly affect the lifeline of the Higgins family. Zhong Xinglin slowly picked up the food in the hot pot with his chopsticks. Tiske, you see, Nancy has only left the Higgins family for 10 years, and the Higgins family has fallen to such a state. However, more than 10 years ago, among the 4 great clans, only the Higgins clan was not a century-old distinguished clan. Although they did not have much wealth, they were still at the peak of their power. What did he rely on? It was Nancy's irreplaceable scientific research technology. But now, after Nancy left, the Higgins family had been going downhill. From the original second son to the current third and fourth sons, they're almost officially leaving the 4 great clans. But scientific research alone shouldn't be able to change the current situation of the Higgins family, right? Si Qingyan said. Internal strife and external chaos was the current situation of the Higgins family. If Nancy hadn't left behind so many things, the Higgins family probably wouldn't have survived for 10 years. That's right. No matter where the heir is, methods and connections are very important. That's why I find it strange too. What's wrong with Nancy? He must find a young heir. Zhong Xinglin ate a meatball and said slowly. Who knew? The door was suddenly kicked open. Old Zhong, what do you mean? Am I crazy? Chapter 469. Initially, he just wanted to know what Zhong Xinglin was doing in the office. The door was closed. However, he did not expect this old man to speak ill of him while cooking hot pot. Sinister. Hypocrite. Zhong Xinglin's bowl stopped. He did not expect to be caught red-handed. However, the next moment, Zhong Xinglin calmly stuffed the freshly cooked beef roll into his mouth. Isn't this the truth? How can I not know how many talents there are in Yun Cheng's computing field? You don't even like Si Qingyan. With that, Zhong Xinglin hurriedly added another bowl and chopsticks. Nance, come, let's eat together. Nance's expression did not look too good, but smelling the fragrance of the hot pot, he gradually gave in. He reached for the bowl and chopsticks. I'm not done with you. Don't think I can forgive you. Nance's face was cold, but he quickly picked up the tripe that Zhong Xinglin had just cooked and ate it. Zhong Xinglin, who knew that he was in the wrong, did not care about this. Besides, actually, most people did not know that when Zhong Xinglin was studying at Neely University, Nance was his professor. Even so, Nance was only 6 years older than Zhong Xinglin. I say quickly change your clothes. Otherwise, when the security guards change next time, let's see if you can get in. Zhong Xinglin glanced at Nance in disdain. He was the head of the Higgins family and the former principal of Neely University after all. How could he make himself look so sloppy? Who would have thought that this was the most feared existence in the scientific research community back then? I don't care. Nance snorted. Zhong Xinglin sneered. Yes, I've never seen you care in my life. He was the most troublesome person in the scientific research field. He was a classic example of someone who did not care about his life. Back when Nance was still the principal of Neely University, because of the change in our nation's policy, the interaction between overseas teachers and students was reduced. This guy directly filed an administrative lawsuit. In other words, he sued the government of our nation. What was even more shocking was that he had actually won the fight. Because Neely University's law school was one of the best in the world. Not really. This time I must find an heir, Nancy said vaguely while eating hot pot. Have you taken a fancy to someone's successor? Are you too embarrassed to ask? Zhong Xinglin sat down and stuffed a mouthful of beef into his mouth. The wonderful taste on his taste buds made him smile. He pointed at Nancy with his chopsticks as if he was happy without any worries. Tell me which family's successor you've taken a fancy to. I'll secretly get him back for you. When Nancy heard this, she put down her bowl and chopsticks sadly. Actually, I've really taken a liking to one. But he's just a high school student. Hearing this, Zhong Xinglin did not react at first, but Si Qingyan seemed to have suddenly thought of someone. The way he looked at Nancy became subtle. High school student? Nance was a little surprised that Si Qingyan would suddenly interrupt at this time. Yes, she gave me 700 yuan. She was afraid that I would cheat her. Si Qingyan was speechless. Zhong Xinglin, where did this person come from? Her brain circuit was so strange? Then it's even easier. You can go and learn. Find her in school. Old master and intern will come and look for me later. Eat faster, Si Qingyan suddenly interrupted. The Computing Institute was explicitly prohibited from eating and drinking in the institute, except for the dining hall specially configured in the Computing Institute. However, those people would never have thought that their director was already cooking hot pot in his office. Chapter 470. I know. You're so naggy. After Zhong Xinglin and Nance finished the hot pot, they hurriedly opened the curtains to let in the smell. After sitting back at his desk, Zhong Xinglin glanced at Nance and said slowly, "Anyway, we're organizing a competition for you, but whether you can find an heir you like is still up in the air. You don't have to worry. I'll come and take a look on the day of the competition," Nance said. "Okay, then remember to change your clothes." Hearing Zhong Xinglin's words, Nancy was just about to refute when he heard Zhong Xinglin's words. Zhong Xinglin looked at him gloatingly and said, "Otherwise, whether he is willing to be your heir or not is another matter." Nance was speechless. The day before the third round of the International Musicians Association selection, Mr. Qin pinched between his eyebrows. He did not expect to see Qin Youjiao and an unfamiliar girl the moment he returned home. Youjiao? When Mr. Qin turned to look at Mrs. Qin, he immediately understood what was going on. However, Mr. Qin's feelings were very complicated at this moment. He did not express much intimacy with his daughter whom he had not seen for a long time. The last time at the old mansion, Qin Youjiao had unintentionally revealed that Bei Yunj had gotten first place in the competition by cheating. His memory was still fresh. However, although the Jiao in his impression was spoiled and occasionally willful, she was pure and kind. She was considerate of her parents and friendly with her classmates. But now why was she treating girl like this? "Dad, you're back. I'm going to participate in the third round of the International Musicians Association's selection tomorrow and wanted to see you." Qin Youjiao went forward and said with a smile. At this moment, the girl beside her also said politely, "Hello, Uncle Qin. I'm Ling Jiwei from Year 2 Class 7. I'm Jiao's good friend." "Hello." Mr. Qin finally realized and could not help asking, "Are you in the same class as Gur?" Ling Jiwei did not expect Mr. Qin to ask this. "Yes." Ling Jiwei immediately changed the topic and said with a smile, "It's difficult to get a spot in the International Musicians Association. Among her peers, only Jiao has entered the second round. In the future, if Jiao can enter, she will definitely be able to help Uncle a lot." Hearing that the topic had shifted to Qin Youjiao, Mr. Qin, he did not know what to say. Seeing this, Qin Youjiao suddenly asked, "Dad, are you angry with me because I told you that Yunj got first place in the exam?" "I'm not angry." Mr. Qin looked at his daughter whom he had doted on for nearly 20 years and sighed. However, he still felt a little uncomfortable. What happened? Hearing this, Ling Jiwei could not help but look at Mr. Qin and Qin Youjiao in confusion. However, it didn't take long for Ling Jiwei to roughly guess the reason. Bei Yunj was really a jinx. She had already snatched away Yu Jiao's brothers, and now she was trying to bewitch Yu Jiao's father. Uncle Qin Youjiao has never bullied Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj, on the other hand, slapped Youjiao in front of so many people at school. Ling Jiwei turned to look at Mrs. Qin and said, "Auntie saw this too." Hearing this, Mr. Qin's gaze changed and he immediately looked at Qin Youjiao. "Jiao, really?" There were still tears at the corners of Qin Youjiao's eyes as she bit her lip. "I've already said that Jiao can only be bullied." Mrs. Qin walked over, her tone filled with gloom and anger towards Bei Yunj. "She's just relying on the fact that she's the legitimate eldest young miss of the Qin family to hit Jiao in front of me." Ling Jiwei immediately agreed. "Andy is right. And the results of the competition. Uncle Qin, do you think a person with poor results in the past can suddenly get full marks?" Chapter 471. Mr. Qin did not answer directly, but he still had some doubts about this matter. The difficulty of the national competition was obvious. There were first places every year, but how many people could get full marks? Uncle Youjiao just doesn't want you to be deceived. You can't be so distant and delicate just because you favor Bei Yunj. With that said, Mrs. Qin's voice sounded from the side. "Did you hear that? Even a child can see it clearer than you." Bei Yunj was first? Did the entire Qin family not know about Bei Yunj's results back then? How could she have the ability to get first? No matter what, Mrs. Qin did not believe it. But doesn't seem like someone who would lie. Mr. Qin clenched his fists. At the thought of Bei Yunj's distant gaze, his heart felt like it was being cut by a knife. Qin Ting, that's enough. Don't you know what Bei Yunj is like? If she really has this ability, why didn't she show it back then? Mrs. Qin placed the black teapot on the table heavily. She laughed coldly. Do you not believe it, or do you not dare to believe it? Mom, that's enough. Qin Yojiao pulled Mrs. Qin back. Look, when we quarrel, who's the one who's going to advise us? Bei Yunj is your daughter, but think about it carefully. If you die in front of her one day, will she take another look at you? You. Mr. Qin glared at Mrs. Qin, but he could not say a word. However, Ling Jiwei, who was beside him, did not expect the Qin family to be in such a situation. Mr. Qin was wavering. Only Mrs. Qin stood on Qin Yojiao's side. Dad, I have something on. I'll get going first, Qin Yojiao suddenly said. Hearing this, Mr. Qin's body froze and he looked at Qin Yojiao. Then you, take good care of yourself. Jiao Jiao doesn't care about anything else. With that said, Qin Yojiao pulled Ling Jiwei and left without looking back. This scene caused Mr. Qin's body to stiffen. His heart began to waver again. Jiao Jiao, what do you have at this time? Didn't you ask me to help you? Ling Jiwei found it strange. Why did Qin Yojiao give up halfway? At this moment. The moment Qin Yojiao came out, the forbearance and sadness on her face disappeared. Instead, there was an inexplicable smile on her lips. There's no need for that. You've done what you can. At this time, she didn't need to keep acting pitiful in front of Mr. Qin. On the contrary, doing this would only make Mr. Qin regret it even more. In other words, it would destroy the trust that Mr. Qin had just built for Bei Yunj. Hearing Qin Yojiao say this, Ling Jiwei only seemed to understand a little. Suddenly, Weiwei, thank you for today. I have to go back first. Be careful on the road. Qin Yojiao said gently. Why are you being so polite with me? Ling Jiwei's tone was full of disgust for Bei Yunj. That kind of person is difficult to deal with. If you have any difficulties, don't shoulder them alone. I know, Weiwei. In the car. Did you bring Ling Jiwei back to see Auntie Qin? Qin Yojiao bit her lip and only nodded. However, the moment Cheng Zihuai saw Qin Yojiao like this, he immediately felt that something was wrong. Not long after, Jiao Jiao, are your eyes red? No, sand got into my eyes. Qin Yojiao rubbed her eyes, but when these words landed in Cheng Zihuai's ears, his eyes turned cold. It's Bei Yunj again, isn't it? All right, Zihuai, don't you still have to prepare for the computing competition? Don't worry about me. Seeing that Qin Yojiao was pretending to be happy despite being wronged, anger rose in Cheng Zihuai's heart. Suddenly, a thought flashed through his mind and he sneered. How can I be the only one participating in this competition? With that said, Cheng Zihuai turned on his computer and entered a command that Qin Yojiao could not understand. About half an hour later, Qin Yojiao saw that Cheng Zihuai was actually participating in the competition and had signed up for Bei Yunj. Chapter 472. After Qin Yojiao regained her senses, she said, Zihuai, you're signing Bei Yunj up? That's right. Cheng Zihuai's tone was mocking as he said coldly, didn't she say that she likes computers? Then this time I'll give her a chance. Zihuai, aren't you too amazing? I didn't even understand how you did it just now. Qin Yojiao flattered him on the surface, but she was gloating in her heart. So what if Bei Yunj had been in the limelight recently? Cheng Zihuai still hated her so much. As for this competition organized by the Computing Institute, she heard from Zihuai that the participants were all relatively young top talents in the computing field. If Bei Yunj went over, wouldn't she be mocked? I hacked into the computer of the form teacher of Class 7. Although it took a lot of time, it was worth it to teach Bei Yunj a lesson. During this period of time, although Hong Chongjin had not taught him personally, his senior brothers and sisters were very good to him and taught him a lot. Zihuai, you're so capable. I believe you can definitely get first place in the competition. A faint smile appeared on Cheng Zihuai's lips, but he suddenly remembered Jian Shi. His eyes darkened. If Jian Shi was here, this competition might be troublesome. Si Qingyan, who was sorting out the information in the Computing Institute, stopped holding the mouse. He looked at the name of the new application. Name, Bei Yunj, age, 19, computing self-evaluation. ACI Qingyan was speechless. Si Qingyan took a deep breath and looked at Zhong Xinglin, who was sitting on the sofa beside him. Old Zhong, look at this competition. Didn't I say that you'll be responsible for this? If you think she's not bad, can't you just stay? Si Qingyan was speechless. Sure. You said it yourself. Si Qingyan glanced at Zhong Xinglin meaningfully before looking at Bei Yunzhi's information. What exactly was this ancestor trying to do here? It couldn't be for this few million, right? As someone who had won a 10 billion yuan project, he wouldn't let go of this bit of money? Bei Yunzhi, who was working on a project at home, suddenly heard a vibration. He opened it and saw that it was a notification. Institute of Computing. Miss Bei Yunzhi, please go to the Institute of Computing to participate in the competition in 3 days. Bei Yunzhi snorted and threw the phone onto the bed, too lazy to look at it. These days they dared to send any kind of scam text messages. It was already late at night. Bei Yunzhi did not stop what she was doing. She only took off her silver-rimmed glasses when she heard a knock on the door. Open the door. What she saw was a man with a tall and straight posture. You're still awake? The man seemed to have known that Bei Yunzhi was still awake. Soon. Bei Yunzhi herself didn't notice that her eyes were slightly red as she had been focused on the project for the past 2 days. Grandpa's birthday banquet is in a few days. Do you want to buy some gifts? Hoshidu suddenly asked. I haven't decided what to buy yet. Bei Yunzhi had a headache when he heard about this. Choosing a gift was the hardest thing to do. There's an auction on Sunday. Shall I take you there? Bei Yunzhi said without hesitation, okay. It would be best if they could buy something that old Master Lin liked at the auction. Then go to sleep now. Don't make brother unhappy. Hoshidu's thin red lips curled up as he reached out lazily and rubbed his fingertips against her cheek. The faint warmth made Bei Yunzhi inexplicably think of the last time when the man approached her and breathed into her ear. Chapter 473. Bei Yunzhi took a step back. Brother, don't keep seducing me like this. Hearing this, the man probably didn't expect the young lady to be so direct. He couldn't help but chuckle softly. But in the next moment, the man's eyes darkened even more. It was a little hard to tell, as if he was blatantly seducing her. His posture was frivolous. How did I seduce you? Bei Yunzhi was speechless. Don't you know how you seduced me? Looking at this man's cynical and deliberately teasing look, Bei Yunzhi smiled and took another step back. In the next second. Then he quickly closed the door. Looking at the young lady's angry look, the man's lips curled up lazily. His pair of clear peach blossom eyes were especially seductive. He knocked on the door. His low and magnetic voice was lazy with a hint of a smile. It was almost imperceptible. Little princess, good night. The next day. It happened to be the 3rd round of the International Musicians Association selection. Bei Yunzhi sent a message to the International Musicians Association at the last minute and decided to go over to take a look. Jinding Building. Arn Yuen is coming over to take a look at the selection. Arrange for someone to go down and pick her up. Jin Jiheng was very excited. He didn't expect Yuen to come to the 3rd round of the selection. Ever since he spoke to Yuen on the phone last time, he had been listening to Yun's songs. As expected of the person that old Master Du was willing to open up 2 more slots to get. She's here? Arn paused. Jin Jiheng didn't notice his nervousness. Yes, I've already told her the address. Get our people to remember to go down and pick her up. Arnie's expression didn't look too good. He tried his best to suppress the panic in his heart. All right. He had taken a lot of benefits from others in charge of the International Musicians Association's recruitment this time. And he had already decided who to give the 2 slots to. But if Yuen suddenly interfered, wouldn't he offend someone if he couldn't handle these matters well? No. He had to think of a way. Arn suddenly got up and walked towards the stairwell that few people came and went. Soon. Bei Yunzhi arrived at the Jinding Building and didn't see anyone coming to pick her up. She could only wait in the hall. Who knew? Just as Bei Yunzhi took out her phone, someone suddenly grabbed her arm. Why are you still here? An honest-looking woman sized up Bei Yunzhi, who was wearing a black baseball cap. She was wearing a black t-shirt inside, a red and white striped shirt outside, and a pair of loose jeans. She looked casual and beautiful, and her languid and flirtatious temperament was extremely prominent. But, it wasn't appropriate to dress like this, was it? Come with me. The chubby woman dragged Bei Yunzhi up to the 2nd floor. Isn't it the 12th floor? Bei Yunzhi asked after a moment of hesitation. The fat woman chuckled. Do you think those vampires are willing to spend so much money? 12 floors? The rent of the Jinding building increased according to the number of floors. What a joke. Bei Yunj was silent for a moment, then picked up the black mask and put it back on. Did you get the wrong person? How is that possible? Black hat, red clothes, long hair. You're the only one in the entire hall who's dressed like this. The fat woman clicked her tongue and sized up Bei Yunj. You have a good temperament, but you're dressed too casually. The show was about a female group's debut. The artistes who came today were all competing with each other. This one was easy to worry about. She was dressed as if she was going out for a casual stroll. P.S. I don't seem to have updated much these few days. After I sort out the outline, I'll see how much I can make up for you all overnight. Pinch. Chapter 474. Bei Yunj felt that it was strange. Did she need to dress up so grandly to watch the audition? But before Bei Yunj could speak, she heard the fat lady say, "Are you ready?" Bei Yunj said, "I should be ready." Although she did not know what she needed to prepare for the audition. That's good. The fat lady took a deep breath and brought her to the second floor. Bei Yunj looked around and saw many good-looking girls. Why are they all girls? Bei Yunj asked. She remembered that there were not many girls left in the third round and they were all older. The fat lady took a deep breath and looked at Bei Yunj with a fake smile. Do you need me to find you two handsome lads? Bei Yunj was speechless. Were all the staff members of the International Musicians Association so unreasonable? That's so. The two of them who were not on the same page walked to a door. Go in. After the fat lady finished speaking, she noticed that Bei Yunj was wearing a mask and a hat. Her face was almost hidden. Was she planning to start a new trend in talent shows? She was here to join a girl group and she had taken good care of her looks and privacy. You'd better take it off quickly. The fat lady reached out, wanting to take it off for Bei Yunj. But very quickly, Bei Yunj grabbed her hand and smiled lazily. No need. I'll go in like this. Sorry to trouble you. Upon finishing her words, Bei Yunj pushed the door open with one hand and walked in. The fat lady looked at Bei Yunj's back view in a daze. Don't say it. Just this girl's pair of eyes was enough to make her famous. At this very moment, Bei Yunj, who opened the door, was deep in thought. Looking at the surrounding lights and cameras, she felt that something was amiss. Why did the International Musicians Association have so many fancy things? Are you ready? A young man pointed to the instruments around him and revealed a warm smile. You can use all of these. Another man wearing a red hat asked curiously, Aren't you going to take off your mask? I won't. After Bei Yunj finished speaking, she glanced at the musical instruments around her and asked, Do I have to play these too? Tutor? The production team? He seemed to be a normal person. Why was he so arrogant the moment he entered the arena? He wasn't even willing to show off his talent? Why don't you put on a performance? The young man with the sunny appearance spoke again. Bei Yunj frowned and could only look at the piano. At this time, the bullet screen in the live stream was flooded with comments. Isn't this player a bit strange? Isn't he too fond of attracting attention? I'm speechless. Is it because her professional skills are too good that she's willing to perform without going on stage? There's actually such a person. I hope our Jojo doesn't choose such a person. She's probably a young lady with a terrible temper. I'm convinced. Can anyone participate in the competition? Look at what she's wearing, she's not even willing to take off her mask. A normal person is acting like a big shot? Don't you think that even if she doesn't take off her mask and hat, this person seems to be very good looking? I don't know about her looks, but her legs are long and straight. She's a famous product. Awesome. Why do I feel that this young lady seems to be unaware of the situation? Let's play the piano then. Bei Yunj frowned and casually strummed the piano keys with her fingertips. Afterward, before the people in the bullet screen could say that Bei Yunj was pretending, the piano suddenly sounded. Chapter 475. The netizens who had just heard Qin Yojiao's performance were already fed up. They found it boring when more than 10 contestants came to play. So, just as Bei Yunj was choosing the piano, there were already comments saying that Bei Yunj was overestimating herself. But who would have thought, as soon as this person sat down, her slender and pretty fingers moved across the black and white piano keys. The hands of the netizens holding their phones froze. Even the mentors who were evaluating the contestants looked at this scene in disbelief. Bei Yunj looked down, but her fingers were dancing on the piano dazzlingly. Whether it was her piano skills or the song she was completing, It made people have goosebumps. They thought that she was an arrogant newbie, but they did not expect her to be a god-level big boss. Until the end. Whether it was inside or outside the venue, everyone seemed to have lost their souls. When Bei Yunj was playing just now, their emotions were completely stirred by the song. They never had goosebumps. Was she King here to choose a girl group? Was she really not going to consider the International Musicians Association upstairs? Bei Yunj asked impatiently, "Is it done?" "Why yes." Several mentors were shocked and even wanted to give up their seats. It was not appropriate for this person to stand in the contestant's position. "Then let's rate her," another mentor said. I'll give her a," one of the mentors said with a trembling voice. "I'll give her a 2. Suddenly, Bei Yunj smiled, but there was no warmth in her eyes. "You're giving me a rating?" The atmosphere immediately turned cold. The comments were flooding the screen crazily. "Ha ha ha, this girl is so arrogant. I love her. Sister, please forgive me. I'll help you debut. Boo-hoo, this girl is so fierce. I almost thought she entered the wrong door. Her aura is too strong. CK, what a great contestant. Our Jojo is so scared. I'm impressed. So what if she plays the piano? Why is her temper so bad? At the latest. That's right. Do you know how to respect people?" However, at this moment, a girl wearing a black beret, a red short-sleeved shirt, and a pair of shorts with suspenders hurried in through the door. "I'm sorry, mentors. I'm Huang Momo. I'm a little late." The mentors were speechless. The production crew? If this is Huang Momo, then the one who just finished playing the piano is? Just as everyone was petrified, the dance instructor Yu Manran slowly walked out. "Yun, you, why are you here?" Yu Manran almost shouted out Bei Yunj's name, but fortunately he reacted quickly. Bei Yunj turned around and did not expect to see Yu Manran. In fact, Bei Yunj's disguise was so bad that even people who met her every day might not be able to recognize her. However, the jacket that Bei Yunj was wearing was bought by Yu Manran. "Director, I'm sorry, but this is not a contestant. I'll take her out." Yu Manran immediately pulled Bei Yunj out. What kind of joke was this? Bei Yunj can come to the talent show. Who could afford to pay her? However, it was as if everyone who knew the truth had exploded. She's really not a contestant. No wonder she didn't seem to know anything when she came in. The mentors were chatting. She's actually related to Goddess Man. It seems that she's not an artist. Her identity is not simple either. At the thought of the piano performance just now, the mentor sighed. That piano performance is amazing. Those who don't know would think that she's from the International Musicians Association upstairs. Don't say that. I've heard the performance upstairs. She's much better. At the same time, the people who were watching the live broadcast almost exploded the live broadcast. Chapter 476. No way? Did she really go the wrong way? Then why is this young lady here? I remember that apart from the second floor having a talent show, the 12th floor is still having the International Musicians Association selection today. So after Qin Yojiao finished performing, she went to the International Musicians Association's selection. Is this young lady also a participant in the third round of the International Musicians Association's selection? These words quickly attracted the dissatisfaction of Qin Yojiao's fans. After all, Qin Yojiao's biggest topic of conversation was that she had entered the third round of the International Musicians Association's selection. Now that Qin Yojiao's fans saw that someone actually had the same persona as their idol, they were naturally on guard. I'm speechless. A normal person is trying to take advantage of my Jiao? My Jiao is the only contestant under the age of 20 in the third round. Take away my Jiao, goodbye? My Jiao is also a senior in the music industry, right? Did the production team deliberately let a normal person create the devil's persona? They made her pretend to go the wrong way and even made everyone think that she was a contestant from the International Musicians Association? Question. Sour. Do you Jiao fans have a lemon attribute? Even Man knows her. Her identity is definitely not simple. A person begging this girl to debut. +1. Don't go. Miss, don't be fierce to them. Stay and be fierce to me. I'm laughing. You Man only came from a humble background. What amazing person can you know? Just as everyone was discussing, Bei Yunj was successfully found by the management of the 12th floor. A few hours later, the term #10,000 people's blood begging piano lady # also became a trending topic. Everyone was used to watching soft girls in talent shows and had seen many mature women in shows. However, this was the first time they had seen a young lady with the aura of a devil king. It was as if she had an aura of, "I'm impatient, don't provoke me" written all over her body. With just a few questions, the production team and the mentors fell into a period of silence. However, just when everyone thought that this person was too arrogant, her piano skills instantly killed everyone, making everyone speechless. In Ibetuo bookstore, she really had the temper of a devil. The fans of the talent show rubbed their hands together silently. It was simply exciting to have such a female idol in the industry. After Yu Manran sent her away, he returned. The director immediately stopped Yu Manran. "Manran, is that your friend?" Yu Manran looked at the director's smiling face and felt a little scared and wary. "What are you trying to do?" The director took a deep breath and put on a fake smile. "What can I do? Has your friend ever thought about developing in the entertainment industry?" Yu Manran's eyelids twitched. He pursed his lips and said, "My manager has asked as well. If she wanted to develop, she would have come a long time ago." The director thought about it and agreed. Although it was the first time they had met, the director could tell from the way he spoke and behaved in the past 10 minutes that he had a bad temper. "Aya, why don't you let your friend take part in the competition? The remuneration is negotiable." The director continued to be shameless. Yu Manran looked at him in disbelief. His face seemed to say, "I don't know what you're talking about. Bei Yunj was short of money? This was someone who was short of money?" The three people in the Qin family couldn't wait to pluck the stars and the moon for her. Not to mention the master of the Hua family who spoiled Bei Yunj so much. Could she make Bei Yunj debut? What a joke. "Brother Wang, let me give you a piece of advice. Don't think about anything that doesn't belong to you." Yu Manran patted the director's shoulder. Chapter 477. At this moment, Bei Yunj saw that someone had followed her out to take photos of her secretly, so she went to the clothing store outside the building and changed her clothes before coming in. However, she did not expect to see Qin Yojiao the moment she opened the door. "Why are you here?" A dark look flashed past Qin Yojiao's eyes and she asked with a smile, "Are you here to participate in the International Musicians Association selection?" Bei Yunj glanced at her carelessly. "You can say that." Hearing this, Qin Yojiao's expression froze. She did not expect Bei Yunj to really come to participate in the third round of selection. But didn't they say that she was the only one under the age of 20 who passed the second round of selection? Qin Yojiao clenched her fists and smiled. "I didn't expect you to pass the second round too. Then all the best. I hope I can see you in the International Musicians Association too." Hearing this, Bei Yunj only snorted faintly, the smile on her lips faintly discernible. "I hope so." With that said, Bei Yunj entered the elevator and the staff beside her did not dare to speak. "Teacher Yun, that person just now was, what do you think?" Bei Yunj pressed the elevator button to the 12th floor lazily and asked slowly. "I don't know. I didn't hear it, I didn't see it." The staff immediately thought of all kinds of scenes in television dramas and immediately said. Bei Yunj was speechless. She glanced at the staff and said nothing. Until they reached the 12th floor. "Come with me. This is, where did the contestant perform?" Bei Yunj asked. "Oh, in the hall here." Bei Yunj glanced in the direction he was pointing and nodded. "Okay, I'll go over myself. You don't have to bring me." With that said, Bei Yunj turned and left. In the hall, everyone suddenly saw a girl walk in. God of Dance ebook. The girl had her hat pressed down and was wearing a black striped suit. 2 buttons of her white shirt were unbuttoned and she was wearing leather shorts. Her long legs were dazzling. Bei Yunj sat in the waiting area and glanced at the people in front of her casually. Arn and Jin Jiheng, who were in front of them, frowned. This was a contestant? Why didn't they have any impression of it? "Let's continue," Jin Jiheng said. Hearing this, Arn did not think too much about it and let the next person perform. After about 6 or 7 people, it was the turn of someone Bei Yunj found very familiar. Old Master Bo. The old man who had dressed casually at the banquet had changed into a well-tailored suit and was playing a violin. A few minutes later, just as Jin Jiheng was about to speak, he said, "Not bad, I'll keep. Have you passed your violin test yet?" Arn interrupted and asked. Old Master Bo held the violin and was stunned. No, in his time he didn't know anything about exams. Later on, when the Bo family started to develop, they rarely touched such things. "That's why your violin is so mediocre. It can't even be compared to your piano," Arn said without giving him any face. At this moment, the surrounding people could not help but look at old Master Bo. He was the oldest among the candidates. But he was humiliated in public. Old Master Bo pursed his lips and did not say a word. Arn sneered and crossed his arms. I don't know what ability you have to make Yuan choose you. The third round. There was no recording. He could take advantage of the fact that Yuan was not here to eliminate this annoying old thing. No one in the hall was willing to stand up for old Master Bo. They all lowered their heads. But suddenly, Chapter 478. Everyone was shocked and turned around to see the girl in the hat. They couldn't see her face clearly, only her sharp chin. Arnie's expression changed. What's your name? If the head examiner defines the contestants based on their level, why do they have to choose? Why don't we look at the information written by someone else? Bei Yunj crossed her legs. Her long and slender legs were so cold and fair that they dazzled people. Her slow tone was filled with unbridled mockery. Instantly, the people on the field couldn't help but cast her a look of respect. Let me ask you, what's your name? Do you believe that I'll chase you out? Arn was furious. He slammed the table and stood up. Old Master Bo was also shocked. He instinctively looked at Bei Yunj behind him. He didn't know this girl either. Why was she helping him? Arn, watch your words. Jin Jiheng frowned. If Bei Yunj saw this, how could he stay in the International Musicians Association peacefully? The contestants have the ability to influence the examiner's thoughts. Arnie's tone was mocking. You don't even know if you can pass, yet you're still worried about others. I think he plays the violin very well. Bei Yunj said unhurriedly as she looked straight at Arn with her beautiful eyes. Arn sneered and retorted with Bei Yunj's words. Then are you planning to demonstrate with the violin? As soon as he finished speaking. He had thought that this girl would restrain herself, but he didn't expect Bei Yunj to really stand up and walk in front of old Master Bo. Can I borrow it? Bei Yunj asked. Old Master Bo reacted and immediately handed it over. Bei Yunj placed the violin on her neck and tested the sound. Soon the violin was played. This time Bei Yunj was playing the score that old Master Bo had just played. However, she had modified it. The score was more majestic and the style was unique and rich. However, there was also an inexplicable sense of familiarity. He seemed to have heard it somewhere before. Jin Jiheng was the first to have this doubt, but he couldn't remember it for a while. After the entire score was played, the two examiners, Arn and Arn, gradually looked embarrassed. He didn't look like he was here for the selection. Instead, he looked like he was here to cause trouble. Teacher, guess what level my violin is at? Bei Yunj's tone was long as she asked with a faint smile. However, there was no warmth in his eyes. Arn didn't look too good. Anyone who had studied music before wouldn't be able to lie through their teeth with such a level of proficiency in the violin. Teacher, if you think it's not good enough, you can demonstrate it yourself so that everyone can learn from it. Bei Yunj returned the violin to old Master Bo. At this moment, Arnie's face was frighteningly dark. Everyone suspected that Arn would come down and attack the girl in the next moment. Shortly after, just as Arn was about to drive her out, she suddenly laughed. He said slowly, Mr. Arn, haven't you found your place yet? In an instant, Arnie's body stiffened. Even Jin Jiheng, who was beside him, reacted. Someone had said something similar to her. Back then, Yuan said the same thing. Just know your position. When the two of them reacted, their pupils constricted and they looked up at Bei Yunj. How was this possible? She was Yuan. They heard Yun's voice and knew that Yuan might be quite young, but wasn't she too young? Why? Before Jin Jiheng could speak, he heard her repeat her answer. I think he plays the violin very well. Chapter 479. With that said, Bei Yunj only curved her eyes and looked at them expressionlessly. Jin Jiheng was the first to react. He looked like a fan indulging his idol and said in a daze, Good, very good. Bei Yunj glanced at Arn as if nothing had happened and returned to her seat. All the contestants present were stunned. Even old Master Bo was stunned. Wasn't this young lady a little too wild? She even dared to scold the head examiner like this? The strangest thing was that Mr. Jin Jiheng actually listened to her. Then even Arn gritted his teeth and sat down as if he had swallowed the humiliation. Everyone? What kind of confusing scene was this? Everyone continue preparing. Next. Jin Jiheng was the first to react. He could tell that Bei Yunj did not want to reveal her identity, so he continued with the selection. When everyone saw this scene, they knew that the young lady at the end should be a very powerful big shot. It was very likely that one of the spots in the International Musicians Association would land on her. Everyone's thoughts ran wild as they continued to prepare for the assessment. At the same time, to Bei Yunji's surprise, Old Master Bo walked in front of her. "Miss, thank you. You're welcome." Bei Yunji did not want to be recognized, so she did not raise her head and just said casually, "Miss, your violin skills are really good." Old Master Bo was a little nervous as he rubbed his hands carefully. "Can you teach me? I can pay you." Bei Yunji. "I'm usually not free." She did not want to take in any more students. 3 of them were more than enough for her. "I see." Old Master Bo was a little disappointed. Then he said to her sincerely, "You're very good. There will definitely be a spot for you in the International Musicians Association this time. All the best." Bei Yunji, "Thank you. Prepare well for the last round and fight for a spot." Hearing this, Old Master Bo could not help but look at Bei Yunji. This young lady's tone sounded as if she was determined to get him into the 4th round. "I hope so." Old Master Bo sighed and put on his top hat again. After saying goodbye to Bei Yunji, he left the 12th floor. This continued until the end of the 3rd round. Arn originally wanted to ask Bei Yunji the reason why she didn't directly reveal her identity. Instead, she deliberately wanted to embarrass him. However, he didn't expect that he wouldn't even see Bei Yunji after everything was over. Arn was so angry that he threw everything on the table away. Jin Jiheng furrowed his brows at the sight of this. Du Xiao was also trying to make Yun happy during this selection. Yun was not willing to come, so they helped to choose her. If Yun was willing to come, they were just decorations. Wasn't this clear from the start? However, Arn was a decisive person who did everything according to his own ideas. But it was obvious that Yun was not someone to be trifled with. Moreover, looking at the president's posture, Yun was very likely to be the next president of the International Musicians Association. Why can't Arn understand this little hint? In a corner, Arn was talking to someone on the phone with an unpleasant expression. "Miss, I saw Yun. She's not easy to deal with at all. Fortunately, Yun wasn't here when Qin Yojiao was performing." "That's good. It's fine as long as Qin Yojiao can pass this time." The mysterious woman smiled. Hearing this, Arn could not help but tell her about what happened this time. However, the woman only smiled. "Arn, don't be too anxious. I'll help you get rid of Yun. P.S. Be good and remember the monthly votes." Chapter 480. Hearing the woman say this, Arn was still worried. Du Xiao likes her so much. How can he give up on her? Then let him have no choice but to give up. The woman's tone was relaxed, as if this problem could be solved easily. "You did very well this time to inform me in time. I didn't expect Du Xiao to investigate so quickly. Fortunately, Qin Yojiao didn't perform that song." When the woman said this, her tone was cold. This Yun was really a difficult character to deal with. She really had to put in some effort to get rid of her. Otherwise, if such a person entered the top circle of Country R, it might cause a lot of trouble for her. When Bei Yunji returned to the Qin family's old mansion, the butler told her that old Master Qin had brought a bunch of tonics and gifts to visit his ward mate. Ward mate? Bei Yunji did not expect old Master Qin's social skills to be so strong. "Yes, I think it's a patient in the ward next door. He lost a leg a year ago." When the old master could get out of bed and walk, he ran to the ward next door almost every day. Bei Yunji raised an eyebrow and nodded. "Okay, I got it." After chatting, Bei Yunji went upstairs to continue her research project. Until Sunday. Bei Yunji suddenly remembered that Huashidu had said that he would bring her to the auction. At this thought, Bei Yunji finally opened the door and went to the other end of the corridor to knock on the door of a guest room. The door to the guest room opened. Huashidu glanced at the little girl in front of him carelessly and walked in. "Come in." Bei Yunji did not hesitate and followed Huashidu in. After all, she had stayed in this guest room before. "Brother, when are we going to the auction?" Bei Yunji had checked the auction before and it seemed that the items auctioned were not bad. Hearing this, Huashidu turned around and glanced up and down at Bei Yunji, his gaze landing on her straight and slender legs. His eyes were half dark with an inexplicable desire, but his voice was calm and composed. "Change your clothes and we can prepare to leave." After Huashidu finished speaking, Bei Yunji finally reacted. She had only put on a loose white t-shirt and immediately went back to her room to change. After going downstairs, She saw that the man had already changed into an exquisite handmade black suit. His eyebrows were handsome and noble, and his pair of light-colored eyes were drooping, making the corners of his eyes look seductive and lazy. Yet she was cold and unapproachable. Bai Yunj could not help but look at Huashidu. Suddenly, the man put the newspaper on the table and stood up again. Yun Yun. Bai Yunj subconsciously looked up. We'll see when we get in the car. Don't be late. The corners of Huashidu's thin red lips curled up slightly. Bai Yunj, at the auction. At 7:30, it was already very lively. A woman in a long blue dress walked in with a young man with deep eyes and eyebrows. Miss Bo, I knew you would come too. Bo Jinxiao smiled and said gently, the elders in the family like the auction item this time very much, so they specially came to take a look. This is... The woman beside her glanced at the boy beside her hesitantly. This is Ziyuan's younger brother, Zhixing. Bo Jinxiao introduced him to her. So it's the second young master of the Chu family. Admiration immediately appeared in the woman's eyes. As expected of Bo Jinxiao. She had already built a good relationship with the second young master of the Chu family before marrying into the Chu family. Chapter 481. The woman laughed again and teased. Second young master Chu has lost so much weight that I almost couldn't recognize him. However, the Chu family's genes are indeed top-notch. Second young master's looks aren't any worse than eldest young master's. Zhixing is thin-skinned. Stop teasing him, Bo Jinxiao said with a smile. Aya, our Chu family's future young madam is starting to protect her younger brother now? The woman said this and did not notice that Chu Zhixing's eyes darkened when he heard this. I've always treated Zhixing as my younger brother. Don't talk nonsense. Bo Jinxiao's words made Chu Zhixing look at Bo Jinxiao again and he could not help but feel disappointed. Actually, he already knew that the only person Bo Jinxiao liked was his brother. At this thought, Chu Zhixing found an excuse with Bo Jinxiao and went to the washroom alone. At this moment, the woman continued to smile. You're the most envious person in our industry. Bo Jinxiao only smirked and sat in the hall, drinking black tea. However, in the next moment, the woman's words made her froze. However, I heard that the person from the Hua family came to the auction. He's in the VIP room on the top floor. Changing the topic, the woman probed, Jinxiao, didn't you like to transition when you were in high school? The desserts at the auction were all made by the masters of our country. They indeed taste very good. Bo Jinxiao interrupted her and then smiled at her, her tone gentle. In the past I was still young and ignorant. I didn't know what the difference in status was. After I found out, I didn't dare to take that step even if I had the chance. Hearing this, the woman seemed to have heard something was wrong. You didn't confess to that person back then? The woman asked in surprise. Bo Jinxiao smiled and said nothing. However, the woman had been thinking about Bo Jinxiao's ambiguous words. Suddenly, she blurted out in surprise, could it be that Master Du actually had a good impression of you back then? I only have Ziyuan in my heart now. Bo Jinxiao smiled and continued to drink her black tea. However, the woman felt like she had been struck by lightning and could not believe it for a moment. After all, the rumor back then that Bo Jinxiao was infatuated with Huashidu and had confessed to him in high school. However, Huashidu was an unreachable existence in the eyes of others, so it was understandable for Bo Jinxiao to be rejected. Even then, Bo Jinxiao was the most popular socialite in the industry. However, as the heir of the Hua family, Bo Jinxiao was indeed not qualified to be Huashidu's fiancé. Therefore, everyone discussed this matter for more than half a year. However, not long after, Bo Jinxiao actually got together with Chu Ziyuan. It really made one sigh. Kuiqiao, are you talking about? The woman stopped mid-sentence, her heart filled with envy and pity for Bo Jinxiao. So Master Du really had feelings for Bo Jinxiao? What shocked her even more was that Bo Jinxiao had rejected Master Du. If it were anyone else who would be willing to do that. The woman believed Bo Jinxiao's words. After all, those rumors were definitely not as real as what she had said herself. However, when the woman left, Bo Jinxiao no longer looked as calm as before. Instead, she looked at the exclusive staircase of the VIP room on the top floor from time to time. Her eyes darkened and she couldn't help but tighten her grip on the spoon. But after a while he let go. Forget it, Huashidu didn't only treat her that way. It was just that no one could catch his eye. Chapter 482. Before Bo Jinxiao could look away, a familiar person suddenly came down from upstairs. Bei Yunj. She clenched her fists instinctively and her gaze changed. Bei Yunj had come down from the top floor just now. There were only 2 sets of VIP rooms on the top floor of this building. One of them must have been arranged for Huashidu. She did not know who had booked the other set for the time being. But it was definitely not the Qin family. Then why did Bei Yunj come down from the exclusive elevator on the top floor? At this moment, Bei Yunj did not notice Bo Jinxiao's gaze and only made a call impatiently. Are you not here yet? Wait a little longer. I'm almost there. The person on the other end of the call wished he could fly over with a call. It was not easy for him to find out from Delaney that Bei Yunj did not teach today and had come to attend the auction. Of course he wanted to see Bei Yunj. 5 minutes. Bei Yunj gave him a time limit and hung up the call swiftly. On the other end of the call, Vic was speechless. The secretary, who did not notice anything, even pushed up his glasses and said to Vic, "Boss, there are a few teams in the maps of the gods and a few partners in Yunqing looking for you. Tell them to stop bothering me." With that said, Vic stood up and leaned close to the driver, shouting hysterically, "What's going on? Can you move the car? Can you move it a little? How long had this road been stuck for? Why was it so congested?" The driver said, "Boss, this highway will be stuck for at least 15 minutes. Vic was speechless. Then why did I come out so late at night? Wake was in a bad mood as he collapsed on the leather sofa. The secretary asked carefully, "Are you still going to the auction?" "Yes," Vic said weakly. Yao Yao Literature Network, no matter what, even if they waited until the auction ended, it would be good to be able to block the entrance. The secretary did not know who his boss was going to see for him to be so anxious. Then, if they want to see you, let them come to the auction? Whatever. Wake's eyes were closed and he looked indifferent. On the other side, Bei Yunj sat on the sofa in the living room and waited for about 10 minutes. However, Vic was still nowhere to be seen. She pursed her lips and didn't wait any longer. Instead, she returned to the top floor. At this moment, not far away, Bo Jinxiao saw Bei Yunj take the exclusive elevator to the top floor. For a moment, an absurd and outrageous guess suddenly rushed into her mind. Bei Yunj was on the top floor. Did she know Huashidu? That was not right. Impossible. With Bei Yunj's status, how could she meet Huashidu? Just as Bo Jinxiao was deep in thought, Chu Zhixing returned. "Guangxiao, what are you thinking about?" Chu Zhixing sat opposite Bo Jinxiao. A dark look flashed past Bo Jinxiao's eyes and she glanced at Chu Zhixing, smiling. "It's nothing. By the way, I think I saw Bei Yunj just now. Are you close to Bei Yunj?" "Yes." Chu Zhixing poured himself a cup of tea. Suddenly he heard her say, "Just now, I think I saw her enter the top floor." But with the Qin family's power, it's not enough for them to know the person on the top floor of the auction, right? Bo Jinxiao was testing him. Under normal circumstances, Chu Zhixing would have told her without thinking. However, to her surprise, Chu Zhixing's hand that was pouring tea stopped and he said, Chapter 483. The smile on Bo Jinxiao's face froze slightly. "Zhixing, are you wary of me? I won't tell anyone about Master Pei." Chu Zhixing liked Bo Jinxiao, but he could not tolerate anyone hurting Bei Yunj. Bo Jinxiao clearly did not expect Chu Zhixing to protect Bei Yunj so much, and an uncomfortable feeling rose in her heart. Even if she did not like Chu Zhixing. Bo Jinxiao hid the darkness in her eyes and said, "But I heard that the new young lady of the Qin family doesn't seem to have any friends in the industry. Zhixing, I'm thinking for you. Do you want to find such a person to be your friend?" At first, Bo Jinxiao was just testing him. However, she did not expect that when Chu Zhixing heard this, the warmth in his eyes completely disappeared. He wiped the corners of his mouth and stood up. "I have something on. I'll go back first." With that said, Chu Zhixing really stood up and prepared to leave. This made Bo Jinxiao's expression change and she clenched her fists tightly. This was the first time Chu Zhixing had treated her like this. In the past, as long as he was by her side, he would stick to her. At this moment, before Chu Zhixing could leave, a voice suddenly sounded from behind him. "Zhixing, where do you want to go?" Chu Zhixing turned around and saw Chu Ziyuan in a blue suit. He frowned. "Brother." Chu Ziyuan had heard the conversation between Chu Zhixing and Bo Jinxiao just now and felt that Bo Jinxiao was right. Not to mention that the young lady of the Qin family had a bad reputation. Besides, now the Chu family and the Shao family had an unusual relationship. As the second young master of the Chu family, how could Chu Zhixing play with the young lady of the Qin family? Jinxiao is right. Zhixing, aren't you going to pay attention to your identity? Chu Ziyuan's voice was cold and serious. The Xiao family and the Qin family don't have a good relationship. You should interact less with the Qin family. As a member of the Chu family, you should have the Chu family standpoint. Really? Chu Zhixing suddenly asked in return. Before Chu Ziyuan could react, he heard Chu Zhixing laugh carelessly. His deep eyes were calm, but his tone was firm. But my standpoint will always be Bei Yunsh. After that, Chu Zhixing picked up his suit jacket and prepared to leave. This made Chu Ziyuan's gaze darken and he clenched his fists again. In the past, Chu Zhixing would never disobey him. If father finds out that you're hanging out with such a person, do you think you'll still be able to get anything from the Chu family? Chu Ziyuan said again. It doesn't matter. I'll give it to you if you want it. Chu Zhixing's words made Chu Ziyuan's face turn even darker. Chu Zhixing. Chu Ziyuan said coldly, if you walk out of the auction today, don't even think about going to country or to study. These words immediately made Chu Zhixing stop in his tracks. But in the next moment, someone put their shoulder on Chu Zhixing's shoulder. It's all right, I'll send you there. Chu Zhixing looked up and saw Qin Lang's cynical look. Qin Lang put one hand on Chu Zhixing's shoulder and smiled casually. President Chu, it's not a big deal. Why are you being so calculative with a child? This is the Chu clan's business. Chu Ziyuan's face was cold. President Chu, because of my sister, you don't let your brother study. As his brother, I naturally have to be responsible. When Qin Lang walked in, he also heard Chu Ziyuan and Chu Zhixing's conversation. Chapter 484. President Chu, the CEO of EG, is here. Chu Ziyuan's expression changed, and Qin Lang and the team members behind him also looked more serious. It was obvious that their target was the CEO of EG Corporation. EG Corporation was not only involved in the gaming industry, but also in many electronic industries. This time, since the CEO of EG could come to Yunqing personally, everyone naturally thought of ways to make connections. Qin Lang did not even look up. Instead, he pulled Chu Zhixing to sit in a corner. Brother Lang, didn't the boss ask us to talk business? The other three team members looked at each other. You're going to talk? Qin Lang sat lazily on the sofa, scrolling through his moments and drinking a glass of juice with a straw. The team members shut up. Captain Qin, aren't you afraid that the boss will go crazy if you go against him? Suddenly, Chu Zhixing, who was beside him, glanced at the background of Qin Lang's moments. Your background? Isn't it nice? I took it secretly last time. Qin Lang smiled lazily. There's no need to be too restrained. You can call me third brother like Gur. Chu Zhixing nodded and looked away from the background picture, but he did not say anything. Given Master Pei's temper, if she knew that her photo had been placed in the background of his moments, something was going to happen. However, this photo was rather blurry. One could only vaguely see Bei Yunj's bright eyes and the cold light in her eyes. Probably only those who had seen Bei Yunj before would be able to recognize her. After a while, Chu Zhixing saw Chu Ziyuan standing with an unfamiliar boy. Qin Lang recognized that person. It was Xiao Ji. Thank you for the news, young Master Xiao. Otherwise, I wouldn't have known that the CEO of EG Corporation is coming to the auction. Xiao Ji laughed nonchalantly. I don't know why the CEO of EG would come here on a whim. Anyway, our Chu and Xiao families are in a cooperative relationship. Naturally, we hope for a win-win situation. Chu Ziyuan smiled. At this moment, everyone also noticed that some big shots that were rarely seen were gathered in the hall. Even the eldest young master of the Chu family had appeared. But soon, everyone's doubts were resolved. At the door, a foreign man in a black trench coat walked in hurriedly while talking on the phone, followed by two assistants. It's Mr. Vic. Everyone exclaimed. Many people recognized that this was the founder of EG Corporation, Vic. In the past few years, EG Corporation had been evaluated as the company with the most potential in our nation. It had also maintained deep cooperation with Delaney Corporation. He was also one of the key partners in the country, hoping to expand the overseas market in country R. It was no wonder why there were so many important figures here, as expected. The people from the Chu family and the Xiao family were the first to step forward. However, before Chu Ziyuan could speak, Vic suddenly reached out his hand and gestured for him to stay away. Don't tell me you blacklisted me? Why can't I get through? Wake wasn't in the mood to pay attention to others. As for the two assistants behind him, they were already used to it. Every month the boss would always have a few days. Everyone could see that Wake seemed to be calling a very important person, so they didn't say anything. But who would have thought? Wake had been on the phone for 10 minutes. No one knew what kind of god was on the other end of the phone, but he had no intention of answering. Who was this person? How dare he ignore the big boss like this? Chapter 485. 10 minutes passed again. The auction had started. Vic, who still did not get through, was speechless. Very good. As expected of someone who was cold and heartless. So, Vic called his cousin Delaney for help, but he didn't expect that he would only be insulted by his cousin's intelligence. This world was too hypocritical. Vic cursed and went straight to the nearest sofa to sit down. Qin Lang, who was beside him, felt someone sitting beside him and leaned to the side in disdain. Vic was speechless. Qin Lang's team members were speechless. Brother Lang, are you really not afraid that the maps of the gods will ban us? Vic took a deep breath and glanced at Chu Ziyuan and the rest in front of him. His tone was cold. What's the matter? The assistant beside him could not help but look at Vic. He really did not need to learn how to change his expression. I'm the CEO of the Chu Group, Chu Ziyuan. I'm the captain of the KMO team, Xiao Ji. I'm also the heir of the Xiao family. Why are you looking for me? Vic took off his windbreaker and did not even look up. It was obvious that he was not interested in them. This made Chu Ziyuan and Xiao Ji fall into an awkward silence. Suddenly, Bo Jinxiao laughed. I heard that Mr. Vic's Maps of the Gods was designed in high school. My teacher Shirley likes you very much. Shirley? Your teacher is my high school classmate? Vic looked up and asked. Yes, Miss Shirley often talks to me about you, said March. Hearing that it was an acquaintance's name, the alienation and coldness in Vic's eyes dissipated. The people around them could not help but be envious. Even though Miss Bo Jinxiao had gone overseas, her connections were only better. It seemed like Bo Jinxiao's return this time would be the time for her to suppress the entire industry. So, Bo Jinxiao said casually, I heard that the Qin family and EG only signed a project for a year? Yes, because there's a new project. Vic did not intend to tell the public too much about this, so he only brushed it off. Hearing this, Bo Jinxiao laughed and her slender fingers gently tucked her hair behind her ear. That's a pity. I heard that the Qin family has been in contact with other projects recently. Perhaps EG is not their first choice. At this moment, Qin Lang and Chu Zhixing's expressions changed and they looked up at Bo Jinxiao. But now, only Bo Jinxiao could speak in front of Vic. Thinking of this, Qin Lang and the other man could not help but look at Vic. True enough. Vic's face darkened, and the spoon he was using to insert the cake paused for a moment. He didn't look too happy. Vic sneered and asked, whose project is the Qin family's first choice? She actually dared to snatch his job. I'm not sure either. I only know that the Qin family's thoughts don't seem to be on EG's project. With that said, Qin Lang scoffed. What? Miss Bo has just returned and you already know so much about the Qin family? You must be joking. I've only heard about it. With that said, Bo Jinxiao turned to look at Chu Ziyuan and Xiao Ji, revealing a gentle smile before she turned to look at Vic. Actually, the Chu family and the Xiao family are good candidates for cooperation. If EG has any more cooperation, you can consider the Chu family and the Xiao family. These words made Chu Ziyuan and Xiao Ji admire Bo Jinxiao a little, and their impression of her improved greatly. Chapter 486. Let's talk about it later. Vic looked listless. He only hoped that the Qin family could give him some face. Even if the focus of the project was not on him, at least establish a long-term friendship. Otherwise, would they still remember him? At this moment, Qin Lang's eyes darkened. He put his phone on the table and was about to say something to Vic. But in the next moment, Vic suddenly bent down and picked up the teapot to pour water. He just ignored him. Qin Lang, then, just as Qin Lang was about to discuss the Qin family with Vic again, his phone vibrated and lit up, and the teapot in Vic's hand suddenly shook for no reason. It spilled directly on the coffee table. The next moment, Vic was quick to react and actually saved Qin Lang's phone first. But his own phone was ignored. Everyone? Mr. Vic had such good qualities? Sacrificing himself to save others? Who didn't know the importance of these businessmen's phones? Every phone call cost an incomparably high amount of money. But now they actually saw Vic take away Qin Lang's phone first. Did he recognize the wrong phone? Just as everyone was confused, Vic heaved a long sigh of relief and carefully looked at the wallpaper lock screen of the phone. Whose phone is this? Mine. Qin Lang directly snatched the phone and turned off the screen. It seemed that he was not polite to Vic at all. The team members next to him were so scared that they almost had a heart attack. But then Vic's reaction made people feel even more stunned. That, sir, the picture on your phone is... Vic unconsciously rubbed his hands and was slightly nervous. My sister. Lu Julin. Qin Lang looked at Vic warily and felt that there was something wrong with this person's gaze. He had been staring at his lock screen just now. He clearly had thoughts about his girl that he shouldn't have. Then where is she now? Vic's eyes lit up when he heard that. He could actually meet her brother like this. Wasn't he too lucky? Qin Lang saw that this man in his 40s was so interested in a little girl who was not even 20 years old, and the temperature in his eyes suddenly turned cold. He smiled slightly. Somewhere you can't find. Vic, everyone, this person was really tough. That you misunderstood. I know why. Miss Pei, so I want to meet her. After Vic finished speaking, he looked at Qin Lang with sincerity. Can you introduce me? However, when everyone heard this, their bodies trembled. Does Mr. Vic know Bei Yunch? How was this possible? Isn't this Mr. Vic's first time in Yunqing? At this moment, Bo Jinxiao's face turned green and her mind was in a mess. She did not expect Bei Yunch to have the ability to connect with the president of EG Corporation. Qin Lang saw that Vic didn't seem to be lustful either, so he asked slowly, Your Gur's friend? How did you know each other? When Vic heard this, he smiled a little embarrassedly. Not yet. Miss Pei and I, sort of met online. Qin Lang, ? Everyone, ? No matter how he listened to it, it sounded like Vic was trying to seduce Bei Yunch. Should be doing her homework at home. Wake immediately shook his head. Miss Pei is at the auction, I came for Miss Pei. Mr. Qin, can you do me a favor? He added aggrievedly, I came more than 10 minutes late. Miss Pei seems to be angry. Chapter 487. At this moment, everyone seemed to have been struck by lightning, their eyes filled with shock. What did he mean? Mr. Vic had come today to look for Bei Yunch? Was he crazy? You mean, you came here today to look for Gur? Qin Lang asked the question that everyone wanted to know as well. Yes. Wake sighed, his tone gloomy. Hearing this, Xiao Ji, who had been looking smug just now, had an ugly expression. Chu Ziyuan and Bo Jinxiao's smiles gradually disappeared. Vic said, You're the Qin families? My name is Qin Lang. I'm Gur's third brother, Qin Lang said. Vic's eyes lit up and he was slightly excited. Third brother, hello, third brother. Qin Lang looked at this man who was older than him and resisted the urge to hit him. Just call me Qin Lang. Anything is fine. Vic smiled and remembered Bo Jinxiao's words just now. He hurriedly said, By the way, there's something I want to know. Who is the Qin Corporation's first choice to work with? I don't mean anything else. I just think that our EG isn't bad either. Don't you think so? Bo Jinxiao's face was about to turn into a color palette. It turned red and green. Who would have thought that Mr. Vic would actually lower himself so much just to cooperate with the Qin family? But the Qin family was clearly not one of the top families in Yunqing. My brother, Qin Luyin, is in charge of the corporation. Why don't you make an appointment with him? Vic nodded profusely. Okay. Then, he could not help but be curious. Then, when does Miss Pei plan to work in the company? Gur. Qin Lang was stunned for a moment before he said, My Gur doesn't know much about business. My brother probably won't arrange for her to work in the company. With the three of them around, why would Gur still work? It was fine as long as she was healthy and happy every day. This was also the only request the three members of the Qin family had for Bei Yunch. However, hearing this, Vic's eyes became complicated and filled with disbelief. Did she not know about business? As a genius capitalist who was known as a once-in-a-century genius, Delaney had been sucked dry by Bei Yunch so many times. How could she not understand? Looking around, who else in our nation could suck the blood of the Drenii? At this moment, Vic looked at Qin Lang suspiciously with a look that said, Don't tell me your Qin family is a liar who pretends to be a pig to eat the tiger. Qin Lang didn't pay attention to Vic's expression. Instead he called Bei Yunch. But in the end he couldn't get through either. I didn't get through. Qin Lang's eyes darkened as he replied honestly. He also knew that Gur's relationship with him was still very distant. Even Qin Luyin and Qin Yu were no exception. Sometimes it was just to give face to the old man. On the top floor. Assistant Sung glanced at the person by the coffee table and then at Huashidu, who was sitting on the sofa. Not long after. Assistant Sung couldn't help but ask when he felt Pei Qingfeng's gaze sweep over him for the 7th time. Master Du, I don't think this is a good idea. Chem? The man lifted his thin eyelids lazily. His pale-colored pupils were abstruse, but the corners of his eyes were curled up seductively. The 2 buttons on his shirt collar were loose. He exuded a cold and lustful aura. Miss Pei, you must be tired from studying. It's good to relax now. Chapter 488. The man's well-defined hand tidied the black hair on the side of Bei Yunji's cheek. Yun doesn't like to study? Bei Yunj said. I like it. With that said, Bei Yunj glanced at Assistant Sung slowly with a cold gaze. Because these exercise books were brought over by Assistant Sung. They were also bought by Assistant Sung. Huashidu saw that Bei Yunj was doing it slowly and asked again, You don't know these questions? Didn't you get first place in the physics competition last time? This is mathematics. It's more difficult, Bei Yunj said calmly. Hearing this, a mischievous look flashed across Huashidu's pale-colored eyes, but he did not expose her. He pretended not to remember that Bei Yunj was liked by the mathematics professor of Neely University. After you're done with this question, rest. The auction is about to start. When Bei Yunj heard this, she immediately finished the last question, although she was a little slow under Huashidu's gaze. But compared to the dilly-dallying just now, this was godly speed. When Huashidu saw this, he understood. Brother, my phone. After Bei Yunj was done, she knocked on the coffee table with her index finger and reminded him. Hearing this, Huashidu took the phone that Bei Yunj had placed on the sofa and handed it to her. At this moment, Bei Yunj realized that she had received many missed calls. 9 from Vic and 3 from Qin Lang. Bei Yunj felt a little strange, but seeing that the auction had started, she did not care much and only sent them a message. Halfway through the auction, Bei Yunj saw a call from Vic. She left the private room and went downstairs before answering the call. It was only after Bei Yunj finished listening to Vic's long speech on the phone that she hung up the call after making an appointment. But she did not want to. Bei Yunj was about to leave when a voice suddenly sounded behind her. What a coincidence. Miss Pei is here too. Bei Yunj glanced at her and nodded lazily. Then she turned around and prepared to leave. However, in the next moment, perhaps men will feel a sense of novelty towards a young girl like Miss Pei. Bo Jinxiao's voice sounded clearly. Miss Bo, do you mean that your boyfriend will also be interested in young girls? Bei Yunj stopped and laughed lazily. Then she raised her eyebrows at her. She was so beautiful that it was beyond compare. Bo Jinxiao's expression changed. But don't worry. I'm not that kind of person. Bei Yunj's eyes were languid, and the corners of her lips curled up playfully. She said arrogantly, You should know that people who hook up with other people's boyfriends are all trash. Bei Yunj. Bo Jinxiao's expression darkened. How could she not know that Bei Yunj was scolding her? Back then, she was the one who ruined the relationship between Yu Manran and Chu Ziyuan, and they became a perfect couple in everyone's eyes. What's wrong, Miss Bo? I hope you don't mind if I poke at your sore spot. Bei Yunj looked at her with curved eyes. At this moment, Bo Jinxiao was fuming with anger. Soon she laughed coldly. I've asked. There's only one VIP room on the top floor today. Did Master Du bring you here? Bo Jinxiao stared at Bei Yunj and chuckled. Actually, I also feel very sorry for Master Du. I chose to be with Ziyuan back then. It's good that you can take care of Master Du for me. These words were a disguised declaration of sovereignty. She was hinting to Bei Yunj that Huashidu had different feelings for her back then. Miss Bo, only people who are exasperated can't control themselves. Chapter 489. The natural smile on Bo Jinxiao's face froze and she clenched her fists tightly. This Bei Yunj was much more difficult to deal with than Yu Manran. Really? But Miss Pei, do you really think you're that special? Bo Jinxiao asked with a soft smile. Bei Yunj looked at her for a while and the smile on his lips suddenly deepened. Miss Bo won't know how special I am, but soon Miss Bo will know how special you are. With that said, at first Bo Jinxiao did not realize what was going on. But suddenly, Yun. Bo Jinxiao froze. Of course she knew whose voice it was. At this moment, Bei Yunj looked up and stared at a man who was too attractive. Huashidu walked over and reached out lazily to pinch Bei Yunji's cheek. Master Du, this person seems to be your old acquaintance, Bei Yunj said with a smile. In Huashidu's opinion, this child was heartless. It was impossible for his appearance not to be attractive. Why are you staring at me like that? However, hearing Bei Yunji's words just now, Bo Jinxiao felt embarrassed and had to say, Master Du, long time no see. Bo Jinxiao kept staring at Huashidu. Bei Yunj, who was beside her, held Huashidu's hand and stroked the man's palm with his fingertips. Hearing this, Huashidu furrowed his eyebrows unconsciously and looked up at Bo Jinxiao calmly. Such close contact and eye contact made Bo Jinxiao freeze and she was at a loss. Seeing this, Bo Jinxiao felt a stab in her heart. It was her first time seeing Huashidu indulge someone like this. At this moment, the man looked down, his thin red lips curled up and he scratched Bei Yunji's chin to comfort her. Stop it, it's itchy. At this moment, it was only then that Huashidu remembered that there was someone else. He looked up and said slowly, You are? Vic happened to call her at the same time. Bei Yunj also let go of Huashidu's hand and went to the side to answer the call. Only Bo Jinxiao and Bo Jinxiao were left on the court. I am, actually, who you are doesn't mean anything to me. These words made Bo Jinxiao's face flushed red and she clenched her fist subconsciously. Who would be willing to let the man she had admired not remembered her name? I'm sorry, your liking me is nothing. A few years had passed but the man had not changed much. He had only become more outstanding. He was still in existence that she could not reach. Huashidu lazily took out a cigarette from the cigarette box, his tone nonchalant. She remembered how Huashidu had rejected her. Huashidu lit the cigarette at his fingertips and avoided her, sitting at the side. He leaned against the sofa loosely. Even the way he smoked looked very romantic, light and lazy. However, it was obvious that he was waiting for Bei Yunj. However, another woman had appeared by his side. Bo Jinxiao gritted her teeth. An emotion called jealousy became stronger and filled her mind. Bo Jinxiao bit her lip and walked in front of him again. When she saw Bei Yunj looking over from the corner of her eye, she sat opposite Huashidu and smiled shyly. However, she did not see the emotions in the man's eyes turn colder. Master Du, Miss Pei seems to be very good at socializing. Chapter 490. The man bit the cigarette, his well-defined hand playing with the silver lighter carelessly. There was no emotion in his tone. What else? The smile on Bo Jinxiao's face froze and she could not understand what Huashidu meant. However, the next moment she took a deep breath. Miss Pei seems to have a close relationship with EG's president. Master Du, I just want to remind you. I have no intention of interfering. Bo Jinxiao was very smart and knew that most men did not like others to interfere in their matters. Therefore, she was very good at acting in a pitiful manner. It made it impossible for ordinary people to dislike her. However, it was obvious that this trick would fail. Miss is quite concerned about my people. Huashidu's tone was light, but she could hear the obvious coldness in the man's voice. Bo Jinxiao's heart tightened. She had not expected Huashidu's attitude to be even clearer when she said this. This was the first time she had heard Huashidu admit that she was his person. Master Du, it's only because we've known each other for so long that there's one more thing. Miss, I hope you can keep a distance from my family in the future. The cigarette between the man's fingers had already been extinguished elegantly in the ashtray. She heard him say softly, If this child believes anything, I'll be in trouble. He looked up, his eyes cold and distant. You too. With that said, Huashidu also stood up, having no intention of sitting at the same table as her. This made Bo Jinxiao feel that this was the most embarrassing moment of her life. She clenched her fists, her fingertips almost digging into her flesh. It was all because of Bei Yunj. She clearly wanted her to see Huashidu's heartless side on purpose. Over here. Huashidu walked over. Are you done calling? Seeing that he had not even sat with Bo Jinxiao for a minute, Bei Yunj could not help asking, What did you say to her just now? It's nothing. Huashidu said slowly. She said that she got the wrong person. These words made Bei Yunj raise her eyebrows. When she turned around, she saw Bo Jinxiao gritting her teeth and staring at her with red eyes. He was not far away and clearly heard Huashidu's words. Her brother was indeed an expert at destroying flowers. All right. Bei Yunj nodded and looked at Huashidu meaningfully. This made Huashidu reach out again and hold Bei Yunj's face. Bei Yunj's face was almost distorted by him. What are you doing? What did you call me just now? Huashidu's thin red lips curved. Brother? Huashidu did not speak. His slender hand slowly pinched her face in public. Bei Yunj felt the gazes around her and said in a low voice, "Someone's here." "Yes, I know." The man's tone was lazy and nonchalant, as if it was only natural. But in the eyes of others, a handsome and noble man and a beautiful and bright girl were so intimate in public. The scene was strangely sweet. What kind of heavenly scene was this? Why didn't they consider filming an idol drama? Besides, this man seemed very familiar. Bei Yunj thought for a while before she remembered. Master Du? The moment she finished speaking, she felt the evil hand on her face finally stop. However, the moment she looked up, she met the man's dark eyes, and then the man's low and hoarse chuckle sounded in her ears. Chapter 491. You're so obedient. She heard the man's low and magnetic laughter with some joy. Bei Yunj broke free from Huashidu's hand, but she had a premonition. Her face must have been rubbed red by this man. At this moment, after Bei Yunj felt the naked gazes around her, she was no longer interested in teasing Bo Jinxiao. She pursed her lips and glanced at Huashidu before she walked towards the stairs at the side. Yunyun, the stairs over there can't go to the top floor. Huashidu could not help but smile silently when he saw that the girl seemed to be angry. I'll go to the third floor. Vic had just called her and said that he was on the third floor. Seeing that Bei Yunj did not look back, Huashidu's gaze landed on the junction between Bei Yunj's legs and the bottom of her skirt. Her skin was dazzlingly white and looked like it was about to expose her body. Huashidu saw that the girl was angry and did not pull her into the elevator. Instead, he walked forward with his long legs. His handsome eyes were lazy and carefree, but he quickly took off his expensive black suit jacket and followed behind the little girl. Yunyun, slow down. Be careful not to fall. The man used his suit jacket to cover Bei Yunj's skirt, his tone light and helpless. The scene that fell into the eyes of others. It was the girl in front throwing a tantrum without looking back, while the handsome man behind her was holding a black suit jacket to cover her skirt. This action was extremely possessive. Ah, look over there. Her boyfriend is bursting with power. The girl beside her could not suppress her excitement and screamed. Isn't he doting on her too much? Did you see that young man? He's so handsome, he's a walking hormone. I announced that I'm gone, I'm gone, I'm gone. The envious voices around did not affect Bo Jinxiao's expression at all. She clenched her fists tightly as her heart ached from being stabbed. Search. At first, she thought that Huashidu did not like anyone, so she did not take Huashidu's indifference to heart. But now, she actually saw another side of Huashidu because of a woman. She thought that after Huashidu finished chatting with her, Bei Yunj would come over to declare her sovereignty. But looking at this scene, it had always been men who were blatantly declaring their sovereignty. Bo Jinxiao almost felt that her face was swollen this time. Third floor. Bei Yunj glanced at Huashidu, who was putting on his suit jacket. She did not know when Huashidu had taken it off. Not long after. She pushed open the door to Vic's room. Why? Wake was just about to greet him warmly when he felt a cold breath next to him. When he glanced over and saw the face of the man beside him, he was completely stunned. It's you? When Bei Yunj heard this, she looked at Huashidu. You know each other? Huashidu's eyes darkened as he glanced at Vic. He had no impression of Vic at all. But he probably knew why Vic knew him. Yes, a few years ago I was in Fernan. Wake was interrupted before he could even finish reciting a name. Yunyun, Tseng Su just asked you which auction items you like. He'll get someone to send them back later. Okay. Hearing this, Bei Yunj called Tseng Su. At this moment, the air froze for a few seconds before Wake asked carefully, Aren't you going back to see your grandfather? Chapter 492. When they came back, Bei Yunj glanced at Vic, who didn't dare to speak, and Huashidu, who was sitting on the sofa. What did you two talk about? Nothing. Vic shook his head frantically. Bei Yunj. When they left, Vic didn't dare to hold Bei Yunj back, because he could see the possessiveness of the man beside him. He didn't want to be torn to pieces by this person at all. The next day, Bei Yunj still arrived at school on time. Lu Yuanxi bumped into Bei Yunj from afar at the school gate. He watched as this man walked into the school gate with soy milk in one hand and a croissant in the other. The students on duty on both sides were like decorations. Seeing this, Lu Yuanxi didn't hide anything. He slowly took out the croissant that he had just put in his pocket and walked into the school gate openly. Unexpectedly, a pretty girl with long black hair stopped him and said righteously, "Student, you're not allowed to bring breakfast in." Lu Yuanxi's hand that was drinking soy milk stopped. He pointed at Bei Yunj in front. "Why didn't you stop the one in front?" As soon as he finished speaking, the girl with long black hair instantly blushed. "Yes, we did." After saying that, the girl with long black hair glared at Lu Yuanxi again. She was a fierce person who wasn't afraid of the school bully. "If you bring breakfast again next time, I'll deduct your marks." The corners of Lu Yuanxi's mouth twitched. Wasn't little junior sister too heavy these days? Lu Yuanxi, who was finally let go, quickly caught up with Bei Yunj in front of him. "Aren't the students on duty a little too fierce recently?" Lu Yuanxi was filled with righteous indignation. Bei Yunj was stunned for a moment and glanced at him. "It's all right. You're still all right?" Lu Yuanxi was furious. Then he suddenly remembered and asked, "Did that girl with long black hair stop you?" "Yes." Lu Yuanxi heaved a sigh of relief. Fortunately, they were treated equally. He asked very calmly, "What did she say?" "She asked for my WeChat." Bei Yunj added, "Occasionally she would remind me to bring an umbrella." Lu Yuanxi. He was about to curse. Why were people at the same table treated so differently? Lu Yuanxi couldn't help but glance at Bei Yunj. Her eyes were bright and languid and she was too beautiful. She was wearing a light gray school uniform with a loose gray tie. His calm appearance was lazy and unruly. There was indeed a reason for them to be treated well. Usually she would hear the girls from other classes talking about Bei Yunj. They would say things like killer of both men and women, big boss of the concubine circle, human spanner, and so on. He could understand the first, second, and third meaning, but he didn't quite understand it. Lu Yuanxi's thoughts were quickly overwhelmed by anger, and he even vented his anger on Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj stopped in her tracks when she saw Lu Yuanxi snatch the bag of croissants from her. The next moment she slowly finished the soy milk in her hand and threw it into the trash can. Class 7. F***ck Brother Lu, what happened to your face? You put on eyeshadow? The boys behind him were shocked. Not long after, they saw Bei Yunj walk in and immediately said, "Master Pei, I think Brother Lu was beaten up." Yes. Bei Yunj was holding 2 bags of croissants in her hand and threw another bag to Chu Zhixing. "Come little Chu, don't be polite." Lu Yuanxi, "What's this?" Chu Zhixing was stunned. Bei Yunj's lazy voice came from the front. "Spoils of war." For a moment, Chu Zhixing seemed to know how the wound on Lu Yuanxi's face came about. Chapter 493. Yunj, I have something to tell you. Chu Zhixing pursed his lips. Oh? Bei Yunj turned to look at him. "I'm sorry about what happened before." Chu Zhixing was a little ashamed. "What did you do? Did you sell my personal account?" Bei Yunj narrowed her pretty eyes and the smile on her lips was a little cold. Last week, her private account was about to explode from friend requests. They were all added by people from the same school. It's not me." Chu Zhixing's scalp turned numb and he immediately denied it. How could he have the guts to do such a thing? At this moment, the two of them were talking and did not notice Lu Yuanxi's guilty look. "Then why are you apologizing to me?" Bei Yunj glanced at him. "About Bo Jinxiao. I didn't realize that she was so hostile to you," Chu Zhixing said, afraid that Bei Yunj would ignore him because of this. Hearing this, Bei Yunj chuckled unconsciously. "Isn't it normal to be hostile to me? I have a bad temper, so why would anyone like me for no reason? Xiao Chu, do you have to find someone who likes me when you find a partner?" Bei Yunj's words were slightly teasing. "At least she can't target you." Chu Zhixing pursed his lips. No one could target Bei Yunj. This was his bottom line. Lu Yuanxi, who was beside him, was used to the actions of Chu Zhixing's retarded fan. However, seeing that Chu Zhixing could stand between Bei Yunj and his first love so decisively, he could not help but look at Chu Zhixing again. Then, according to Chu Zhixing's standards, would he be able to find a girlfriend in this lifetime? Hearing Chu Zhixing say this, Bei Yunj fell silent. So, the moment Chu Zhixing walked out of the classroom, Bei Yunj suddenly asked, "Xiao Lu, how can I make girls like me?" Lu Yuanxi could tell that Bei Yunj was sincerely good to Chu Zhixing. 600 Therefore, such an unbridled and flamboyant person was willing to restrain his temper for the sake of his friend in order to please the people around his friend. But Bei Yunj was really not suitable. He was a little afraid that Bei Yunj would use too much force and directly turn Xiao Chu's future girlfriend gay. After all, it was not impossible for the girls from other classes to be so enthusiastic about Bei Yunj. I advise you to be kind. Lu Yuanxi turned his head and said expressionlessly. Bei Yunj, noon. Bei Yunj was called to the office by the head teacher as soon as the examination venue was decided. At the office entrance, Bei Yunj knocked on the door and heard someone say, "Please come in." Teacher Wen. Bei Yunj walked up to Mr. Wen. "Have a seat. I have something to discuss with you." Mr. Wen took off his glasses and massaged his temples. "Go ahead." Bei Yunj nodded. "Can you tell me how much you can score with your usual standard?" Mr. Wen had taught for so many years, but this was the first time he had encountered such a ridiculous thing as guessing a student's standard. "Teacher, are you guys aiming for results?" Mr. Wen pushed the mousse cake he had just bought in front of Bei Yunj. "Speak properly." Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows and looked at the cake again. She reached out and dug up a small piece of cake with a spoon. "How many points do you want?" Mr. Wen, why did it seem like she was bargaining with him? "The better you do, the happier I will be." Mr. Wen was about to lose his temper with Bei Yunj. Chapter 494. Hearing Teacher Wen say this, Bei Yunj did not speak for a moment. Seeing this, Teacher Wen could not help but sigh. "Do you have any concerns? Did children these days like to score low so much?" "A little." Teacher Wen could not help but look up at her. "What concerns?" Bei Yunj took a bite of the cake and the corners of her lips curled up slightly. "Because my brother doesn't like to go home. I have to watch him." Just as Teacher Wen was stunned, Bei Yunj said slowly, "I hope Teacher Wen won't mention this anymore. Otherwise, I don't know where the first place in the level is, but the last place in the level will definitely be our class." Teacher Wen was speechless. What an overboard threat. It was difficult for Bei Yunj not to know about the contact between the form teacher and her family. Almost every week, she could see Qin Yu and Qin Lang taking turns to post her corrected homework on WeChat. She was just too lazy to say it. After Bei Yunj left, the teacher of Class 1 had just walked in when she saw Teacher Wen's dejected expression. She smiled, unable to hide the flaunt in her tone. "Teacher Wen, didn't I tell you not to work so hard? People should be more realistic and not ask for trouble. You're already in year 2. Are you still waiting for Bei Yunj to create a miracle for you?" Bei Yunj was a person who was ranked in the last 20 to 30 places in the level. She was completely incomparable to everyone else. Why waste time and energy on such a person? "I won't give up on any of my students," Teacher Wen said calmly. What the form teacher of Class 1 hated the most was Teacher Wen's arrogant appearance. He really treated himself as a role model in the industry. She snorted. Speaking of which, Bei Yunj and Qin Youjiao both retained a grade. But Qin Youjiao in our class retained a grade because she had a national tour and her results didn't fall behind. As for Bei Yunj, it was entirely because her results were bad and she was still delusional enough to think that repeating a grade could solve the problem of her results. Teacher Wen was right. There's still more than a year. What's the hurry? Teacher Wen said. The form teacher of Class 1 laughed coldly. Can a year change anything? Alright, then I hope that Teacher Wen can broaden my horizons. After school, Bei Yunj had just arrived home when she saw Grandpa Shin sitting on the sofa downstairs with his hands on his waist. Grandfather, what's wrong? Bei Yunj went downstairs. Old Master Qin reacted as if he had seen his savior. Can you help Grandpa with something? What happened? I made an appointment with my ward mate to visit him today, but my waist suddenly sprained. Bei Yunj. Grandpa, why don't you consider someone else? She was not a social person. It's fine. You just have to be polite. Bei Yunj couldn't refuse Old Master Qin's request. She could only ask the driver to take the fruit basket and flowers to the hospital. Room 305. As soon as Bei Yunj opened the door, she saw a very young man lying on the bed instead of a white-haired old man. He was wearing a blue and white striped hospital gown, but it could not hide his deep and handsome eyes. However, his smiling eyes were distant. Bei Yunj's red lips curled up and after a while, she thought of a greeting. My name is Bei Yunj, the granddaughter of your ward mate. With that said, Bei Yunj still thought that she was quite polite. However, the man on the bed furrowed his eyebrows and spoke. Why are you here? Bei Yunj did not even look up. My grandfather asked me to be polite. Shang Yan was speechless. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.